right, he's a pretty big unit too. So, I don't know, maybe Scott Greenoff's not as big as we thought.
So underway on 88.9 Win FM, it's the Lions and the Tigers. Calm got first hands to it, and then McHarg gathered it and kicked it the way that we thought the Tigers were actually going to go. He's kicked it up to Shebeki, though, who's chopped it off for the Tigers. He delivers out wide, looking for Dundon. Just went over his head, gathered by Greenhoff. Tidy little kick into the pocket. And it's off hands and out of play in the right forward pocket, just next to the Sabertooth Club at the club room's end.
Yeah, early touch there for Scott Greenoff, who he doesn't look very mobile. He's a sort of a hulking traditional ruckman, but he certainly moves a lot better than he looks, without being too disparaging towards him. But yeah, he's much more mobile than he first appears.
Throw in, clears all ruckman, ends up with Perkins. He wheels around on his left boot, has a flying shot towards goal, misses the lot, out of bounds on the full. In the opposite forward pocket, free kick will go the way of the Tigers. We've just played the opening minute here of the WRFL match of the day here on 88.9 Win FM. Andrew Wilson, Pepper Cavalieri, Kay Lucas, Ramantides here with the call. So it's with Prismal. Prismal gets a clearing kick outside defensive 50, spoiled away by Barling, and it rolls to Mark Bullen, who's in the coach's box on the opposite side of the ground. We'll get another throw-in.
So the Lions are actually kicking to the club room's end, and the Tigers are kicking to the Duncan's Road end, the city end of the ground, so they are with the wind.
Lockie Rainbow and Tim Quick one out in the goal square. Every other player is up in the opposite half of the ground, very congested.
At the throw-in, Sullivan wins it down. It got away from Seaweck. Galea had a go. And he was wrapped up by Matt Dean, so no surprises to see him in the clinches as well.
Oscar Junker, who was one of the key forwards last week for the WRFL, playing on Jackson Barling, so that's a key matchup.
Interesting story about Matt Dean as well in the lead-up. Almost missed today because he stepped on a stingray last night at the beach. So we're glad to see him
and out there. Lee Johnson with the job on Jack Redpath.
Ismail had his kick smothered. It fell into the lap of Burns, and then he's tackled. So another ball up. Still at centre-half forward. To the end, the Lions are attacking. No scorers yet. 2.5 minutes played.
Umpire throws it up. Calvin got in front, wins the hit out. Clearance kick was smothered. Ismail there surrounds it. Seaweck ends up with the ball for Werribee District. Goes into Molavas direction to a good mark there in front of Jones. On his left side, Molavas drives one to the half forward in the Junker direction. Good mark there. There's a good kick too from Molavas. Led Junker into the space. Barling's on the mark. He's standing on about the 50. I think Junker's going to go back and have a shot. 45-degree angle.
He just outreached Barling there, Junker. He's got those long arms. Barling's a big man, but Junker is going to have the edge in athleticism.
Yeah, we know he's a talented player, Junker, formerly on the North Melbourne list. Comes in, he's got 8 goals on the season. For the first score of the afternoon, kicks from about 50, holding up in the breeze. He's not going to make the distance. Greenoff tries to battle through. Eventually, it's carried over the line. And the first score is a rush behind to the Tigers, and they lead by that 1 point at the 3.5-minute mark of the opening quarter.
At the other end, Josh Harris is manning up on Jace Perkins, and Chris Stewart is also down deep for Deer Park. So they've got some tall timber there. Stewart and Perkins deep, and Redpath's a bit further up the ground.
So Max Bruin to do the kicking in. He clears the defensive 50, searching for Callum Prismal. Got a meaningful fist. It fell front and centre to Dean. Hand passes over the top to Tar. He squares it up in a dangerous spot. Juggling 3 times. Cameron Lee takes it at full forward. And Kane Tester couldn't get a meaningful fist in. And it's going to be Cam Lee to have the set shot.
Yeah, well, his brother's missing. He hasn't played much this season. Trent Lee, I think is his name. But
yeah, he's out with a broken hand, Cade.
Yeah, but
round one,
so his brother will be looking to pick up the slack here, and he's one of the guys who needs to hit the scoreboard. With Matthew Panay out, they need guys like Lee to pick up the slack, and he can do so here.
He's got 11 goals on the year, Cam Lee. He can get the Tigers off to a good start. He's about 40 metres out directly in front. The right foot drop punt is perfect. It weaved a little bit. It weaved a little bit right as it lost velocity, but it squeezed in. It's a goal to the Tigers to get things underway. They're 1-1-7. Deer Park yet to score. 4.5 minutes gone in this opening term from Soldiers Reserve on Win FM.
Poor old goal umpire down there had to do a fair bit of work. As you said, Pepper, was a lovely kick off the boot, but then it took a strange swerve late. I thought it actually went into the post.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah, the goal umpire was much closer than us, and it was a goal, and Werribee have got the start they wanted. So they've got the first, and they're making first use of the breeze in this opening term.
So 5 minutes played, opening quarter, 7 points to the margin. Calm wins it down, but only to Dean. His kick was smothered. Ismail gets it, had to hurry kick to half forward. Bounces over a few players now inside 50. Now picked up by Shebeki for the Tigers, and he's on his left foot, goes out wide looking for Thar. And the boundary line wins out. We'll get a throw in just next to the Sabertooth Club at right half forward for the Lions, kicking to the clubroom's end of this first quarter.
Thar, that's an interesting name, is it? Connor Thar. I wonder what the origins of that is.
Tossed in, Sullivan in front, but only wins as far as Burns, who gets on his left boot, kicks a high ball inside 50 for the Tigers. It's spoiled. A lot of players around the ball. Somehow Greenoff ends up with an open goal, kicks and scores it. So Scott Greenhoff, the winger, gets the opening goal of the afternoon for the Lions. Cuts the margin back to 1 point, the 6 minute mark of the opening quarter. It is 1-1-7, Werribee Districts, Deer Park, one straight.
Well, Mark Bullen obviously knows Scott Greenoff a lot better than we do. We just thought he was a one-dimensional ruckman, but here he is playing on the wing, and also proving to be a pretty adept crumbing forward there. That was a lovely pick-up and finish. And yeah, just underscores the strength of this Deer Park side, that one of the best tacked ruckmen in the game is also a very effective outside player and goal kicker.
Back in the middle, Calm and Sullivan. Calm just knocked it wide of McCarg, and then the clearance comes the Tigers' way. A little dinking kick up towards Star. He was tackled the moment he took possession. It'll be balled up just forward of the circles. Rucks do it again. Sullivan front spot, both missed it. Prismal, who was the interleague captain last week, couldn't get it clear. Seaweck missed it, and then McCarg got the clearance over the head of the chasing pack at half forward. Running back with the flight was Mould for the Tigers, gets into a bit of trouble. He's turned it over. Ismail pounces, drop punt, 40 out, goal. They make you pay, the Lions. They hit the front at the 7 minute mark. 2 straight, 12. Werribee Districts 1-1-7, and it's a bad error at half back, and they made them pay, the Lions.
And they're really up and about too. You can see that's a big goal psychologically wise. Ismail really yelled at the top of his lungs. His teammates got around him. I think they find that that's a really important goal in the way they got it. It was a turnover in the forward 50, and the smaller players, Ismail and also Kwame McCarg there, they swarmed and they put it through. That's a real boost early on for Deer Park to kick a goal like that.
Back in the middle, umpire throws it up. Kelm in the ruck. No clear hit up to either ruckman. Seawack paddles it towards the wing on the outer side. He's still going after it. Finally picks it up. Gets around a couple of Lions defenders, then got a handball out wide. Now the kick goes to half forward. Barling tripped over Junker. Umpire says play on. Ends up with Viojo. Rainbow got the advantage. He's a flying shot towards goal, and it bounces centimetres in front of the point post, and we'll get a throw in the left forward pocket for the Tigers, and they trail by 5 points. It's 1-1-7 Werribee Districts. Deer Park 2 straight. 8 and a quarter minutes played of this opening quarter.
A few of the interleague players for Werribee are prominent early. Viojo, Rainbow, Junker, Shebeki, Seawick. You wonder how their legs will go given they played last week.
Short throw in. Van Riet now picks it up, gets a handball over to Ismail. He's forced to curl one around the body. A couple of Werribee Districts players look at each other. That came off for him. That's a bit lucky. The handball goes back to Shebeki for the Tigers. Inside 50, throws a dart. Good defence there by Knight. Got a second spoil away. Now it's hacked forward there by the Lions. They get it through the centre of the Soldiers Reserve.
Josh Harris, who was the Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago, gets himself into a bit of trouble. He was caught by Perkins, got the hand pass away in the nick of time, but it's turned over again. Ismail, who took full toll last time. This time he's caught, but he's not penalised by the umpire.
Your man Harris there.
Will be a ball up.
Very lucky to get away with that, Ismail. He looked to take the player on to me.
So a ball up, just front edge of the centre square to the end. The Lions are attacking. Clever little kick from Kritharis up towards half forward. Maybe in the back. It was paid. It's going to be a Lions free kick.
And they should have, the Tigers should have got a free kick earlier because Sullivan was held in a bear hug at the ruck. He had the opposition ruckman, was it Callan? Was all over him like a rash. It should have been a free kick for holding.
So it's going to be Spiros Amarantidis' ball at centre half forward.
There's a lovely Greek name for you, Sarah.
At least some of us can get it right this time.
I can say that one.
Takes years of practice before we get your name right, Sarah. 50 metres out, Spiros Amarantidis directly in front. Normally a good finisher, and that is no exception. It sails through midway through the posts and gives the Lions an 11-point lead. 10 gone in the opening term, 3 straight to 1-1.
Yeah, a few warning signs here from Deer Park. They have really come flying out of the blocks after conceding that first goal. They've really hit back hard, and just the way they're playing, the way they're moving the ball, and then when they get inside 50, they're all business. Some really confident shots on goal there from Aramantidis and from Ismail previously. They've got the bit between the teeth here. They're going to be tough nut to crack for Werribee today.
The Lions with the last 3 goals of the game as the umpire restarts play. Stewart wins it down. No clear clearance yet. Now Stewart, clawed it, got dispossessed, ends up with Shannon Burns. He's on his left side. He's on the wing on the outside, goes inside 50 looking for Redpath. But both the forward and defender misjudge it. Perkins comes out, paddles it forward, handballs back looking for McCarr. Got it. He got handball away real quickly. Ends up with Shannon Burns. He shrugs a couple of tackles, got a handball away there, and a quick snap by Tim Sullivan is another one for the Lions. They're on fire. They've kicked the last 4. The lead is out to 17 points at the 11-minute mark of the opening quarter.
And they're really excited here. They're right up and about Deer Park. They know this is an important game for them. They wanted to make a statement. That's what they're doing at the moment. This is powerful football. They're a big, powerful side. They're just brushing the ball forward just with brute force. They're breaking through tackles. They're getting their arms clear. They're just linking up chains of handballs. And then when they get inside 50, they're finishing. Including that time there from Sullivan is just first class. Werribee need to put the brakes on very quickly here.
Well, the pressure that the Tigers wanted to bring is being brought by the Lions in the early going. Can Werribee District stem the tide? 24-7 after 12 minutes. Back in the middle. They try to get the clearance through Sullivan, the goal kicker, but it spills out to Thar. Gets the hand pass over the top. And a kick inside the 50 there from Hamad is marked by Molivus. He's good on his left boot. He wheels onto it. It's not his best connection. It wobbles, gets over Barling's head, and lucky for the Lions, the bounce wasn't kind for the Tigers. Junker tried to get knocked off the football. Hand pass into a bit of space. It's gathered there by Rainbow. Well done there by Shannon Burns in defence, and then Van Reet's clearing kick was smothered over the line by Junker, who had a good second effort, so they'll get a go at it from a stoppage in the left forward pocket at the city end, the Tigers.
Good pressure there from Junker. It's showing he's not just a big target, he's very mobile for a big man, and he's great when the ball hits the deck.
Junker to do the ruck work here at this throw-in against Stewart. Stewart works him on the ball, tapped it down beautifully to Shannon Burns. He got a quick kick out of defence, but it might come back as it's socket off the ground, but then it's go back the other way. Players all around the ball. Can anyone pick it up? They can't at the moment. Now about 4 or 5 players dive in at half forward for the Tigers, and we'll get a ball up.
Just getting beaten in close at the moment. Werribee, the big hard bodies of Deer Park, are just winning first use of the footy.
Stewart belts it about 5 metres forward, got it to Galea, and then got it to Clicks, and Clicks' handball was dispossessed. Players again dive all over it. And we're closer to the centre of the ground at Soldier Reserve, and a couple of unhappy players there in the middle with a bit of a push and shove. Nothing else much going on, but the umpire will ball it up.
There's a bit of niggle out there. Often the case with Deer Park, they're the kings of the WRFL jungle, and when they're up against one of their rivals, they do like to really assert themselves and play pretty hard.
Sullivan with the left hand wins it down, but only as far as Bruin got a little quick kick away. Only as far as Ismail, who kicks it to centre half forward, but it's misdirected kick. Or the mark was eventually taken there by Caleb Sullivan at half back, and they look to move it quickly, do the Tigers.
So it's taken there by Mould, who missed the target there in Viojo Rainbow. Lucky he's got company in Dundon, who hand passes, gets the 1-2 with Sullivan, delivers into the pocket over the head of Molivas, who judged the flight pretty well. Junker gathers and couldn't stay in the field of play. It'll be a boundary throw in 40 metres out in the left forward pocket.
Poor old boundary umpire. I think his whistle is broken or something. He went to blow it there and not much came out. So luckily the field umpire saw him put his hand up.
117 Werribee Districts chasing Deer Park, who have started well. 4 straight. We're halfway through the opening term. Throw in. Junker wins it down into a bit of space. Seaweck mown down in a tackle by Van Reet. And they'll have another stoppage. 45 out from goal.
Strong tackle there from Rod Van Reet. He's one of those typical Deer Park players, strong body and really likes to hurt the opposition.
Stewart wins it down, kick smothered by Knight, ends up with Dundon, centering ball, goes across the face of goal. There's no one home though for the Tigers at this stage, but out comes Scudamore to hassle Tim Quick. He paddled it forward, ends up with Trent Williams captaining the line today. Handballs to Bruin in some space. They clear out of defence. The short ball goes up to the wing to McCarg. Bruin kept running. He looks inboard now, goes for the kick, goes in the Click's direction, but it's come out there with Sullivan with the defensive spoil. The other Sullivan for Deer Park couldn't pick it up. Now it's picked up by Hamad. He has a run, has a bounce, has a second bounce, runs to centre half forward, high ball to full forward. Can Junker get into the contest? He's got 3 lines to beat and he couldn't beat any of them because Quick took the mark and he'll get the defensive clearance now.
The build-up was good, but just not a lot to go to. Barling was the outlet kick for Quick. He takes the mark, still in the right back pocket, 25 metres from his defensive goal.
He hasn't lost any size in his time away from the WRFL. Jackson Barling, he's a big unit.
Goes short to Van Reet, still inside the defensive 50. He's going to go the big switch, going across the opposite side for Aaron Britton, who presents. And now they spread down the club room's wing, but instead inboard now to Kratharis. So it's a slow build-up for Deer Park. He sends it over the head of Quick and into the path of McCarg, who dropped what he would normally take, but he got around the tackler. Hand pass forward to Amarantitis, and now they're over the back, but he's brought down at the last moment and pinged.
Yeah,
and the Lions faithful unhappy. They thought he should have been tripped, but it's still the Tigers' ball now. Seaweck marks on the wing.
They don't have much to complain about there. I think they was holding the ball every day of the week.
Tackle did slip down, Cade.
He got him around the hips first of all.
So Seaweck drives it long down the line. 3 Deer Park players there. One's Galea, got a little handball away. Paddled forward now with Britton. He gets run down by Dean, but the ball spelt loose. Went to Barley. Now Van Reet just kicks a high ball straight back into the centre of Soldier Reserves. And Shebeki comes out, dropped what he probably should have taken. McCarg's there trying to help out. He picks it up, did really well there. Kwame McCarg somehow ended up with it. Scott Burns over the top in space, but copped a bad bounce coming out from half forward with Galea. Dean's kick was smothered. They keep paddling, working hard forward. Do the lines, ends up with Knight, kicks to full forward, but too much on it. And it goes to the back of the pack, and it's going to be come out the other side by the Tigers.
So the Tigers go out again. Seaweck's the outlet kick. He marks in the nick of time as Taylor Jones came late. So he's where he was about a minute ago, Bailey Seaweck. And he's got not much to go to like he had a moment ago as well. 4 straight 24 Deer Park. Werribee District's 117 on 88.9 Win FM.
Probably not a bad idea just to play a bit of tempo footy here, Werribee. Just take the sting out of the contest a bit.
It's been pretty high octane so far. He kicks searching for Junker, and it was fisted away by Barling, so it'll be thrown in just forward of the wing on the outer side.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad, not a bad tactic just to force a few ball ups and throw-ins, just to regain their composure a bit midway through this first term.
At the throw-in, Stewart wins it down. Sullivan was caught behind. A good tackle laid by Britton. And it's a free kick to Britton. Holding the ball against Viojo Rainbow. He lays it off to Van Reet, gets it to McCarg. Back to Stewart. Dinks the kick into the middle onto the head of Burns, who takes the mark under pressure from Shebeki. He wheels onto his left boot, pokes a kick up towards left half forward. Amarantides in space takes it, and he spears a pass to Redpath. Might have been nudged out of it. It doesn't matter. Waiting next in line was Perkins, and he'll go back from 25 out slightly left of centre.
That's about the first time I've heard you call Jack Redpath's name. He's been very quiet so far, but it's testament to Deer Park's strength that they haven't really needed him. Perkins has been prominent. Greenhoff and Stewart around the ground, and Perkins, of course, having the shot now. So it's a strong sign that someone like Jack Redpath is not really having an impact.
22 goals on the season, Jace Perkins. Prolific as always, and that is a goal. Right through the middle, and they've got 5 in the opening term. We're not yet in time on. 5 straight 30 Deer Park. Very efficient. Werribee District's 117.
Yeah,
we've gone 19 minutes.
Making the most of their opportunities, aren't they? A bit unlike the WRFL team last week, who kicked a lot of behinds. Deer Park hitting the scoreboard 5 straight, and even that shot on goal there from Perkins is normally a beautiful kick. That was a pretty ugly helicopter punt, but still went straight over the goal umpire's cap.
Last 5 goals of the game for the Lions. 23 points is the margin. Umpire restarts play. It's Kelm in the ruck. Wins it down the left hand. Van Riet's going to get the clearance. We went to handball, then eventually got a little kick away. Bouncing ball for Greenoff. Can he pick it up? He's got some time on Scudamore, but Scudamore got there, put the pressure on. Now there's a whistle. Which way is it going?
I think Greenhoff was tackled after he got rid of the footy.
So not good too.
And this is probably within scoring range. He's right in front of the Sabertooth, so we're a bit quiet at the
he
moment.
handballs it away quickly to Burns. The umpire said, no, haven't blown time off yet. So back with Greenoff in front of the Sabertooth club.
They'll be giving him some advice on his goal kicking, no doubt, Willow.
For sure, but he's already got one this afternoon, so advantage Greenoff, advantage the Lions at the moment because they lead by 23 points. It's Greenoff hard up against the boundary line. Will kick from about 50. Kicks on its way. It's bending left. Is it going to have it? He's got it. What a goal. He gave it the two-fister to the Sabertooth club, and the fantastic goal there by Scott Greenoff. He's got 2. The Lions have got 6. They lead by 29 points and are only just in the time on of the first quarter.
Gee, where has this player been? Scott Greenoff. He's it's almost like he's got the same name, but he's just a different specimen. You know, he's running up and down the ground. He's crumbing goals. That's his second. He just looks like a completely different type of player to the big hulking ruckman we've come to expect. And gee, Deer Park are even more dangerous with someone like him, and that was a magnificent kick. Whatever goal kicking practice, whatever goal kicking advice the Sabertooths gave him, it certainly worked.
Well, I'm not sure it was advice, but he certainly gave it back when that sailed through, as there's going to be a secondary stoppage in the middle. 29 points is the lead to the Lions at the moment. They're making the use of the breeze in the early stages. Calm wins it down. Bruin wasn't going to get a clear possession, so he opted to tap it back towards Calm, who was tackled. And a bit of a push and shove in the middle. Shebeki and Van Riet right in the middle of it. The umpire's going to get on with things quickly. He throws it up, they disperse, and they do get on with it. Big fist forward there by Calm in front of Amarantidis, who's been busy. Tried to get it back to Clicks. He was pirouetting after being knocked over. Back to Amarantidis. Meanwhile, Clicks has stopped spinning. He missed the football, and then Thar might have been taken high, and the umpire was. And that's potentially a 50-metre penalty.
McHarg's been knocked over. So a Werribee player's come from afar and cleaned up. I think it's Kwame McHarg. Yes.
No, it's Amarantidis.
Yeah, it's one of those, and this could get pretty ugly. The umpire wants to move this game on very quickly because that was a nasty incident. I'm not sure who the Werribee player was who did it.
Anyway, the players moved on, and it's moved up towards Mould, so there was no reversal, and the Tigers still have the footy. They need to find a way to goal, though. It's the most important thing. 22 and a half minutes gone. Calm went back with a flight and affected the contest. Deep in defence for the Lions. Maybe a push in the back on the Tigers. It's not called. It's going to be a ball up.
It's a bit of a powder keg out there at the moment. It's not going to take much to set it off. It's
been a high-octane start. There's no question.
We're inside the attacking 50 for the Tigers. Kelm belts it outside. Dean runs onto it. He's pursued by Van Riet. Van Riet wanted to line him up, but they ended up laying a really good tackle. Now the ball spills to Shannon Burns for the Lions. Kicks it to half forward, and Redpath takes the mark. Too far out from goal, but it's an open 50. There's plenty of space for everyone to run into. He's taking his time. He finds something he might like. He goes sort of the switch to the other side. Went in the Williams direction, but it was well spoiled out there by the Tigers defence, and they look to run it out of bounds. They're hard up against the boundary line on the outer side. The quick kick goes in the Prismal direction. He was sat under it. Britton did the spoiling for the Lions. Players coming in from everywhere, and the umpire's going to come in at ball up at right half back for the Tigers outer side. 29 points the margin. 23 and a half played opening quarter.
Can't afford to let many more sail through the Tigers at the moment. But they're going inside 50 again. Burns front spot, best place. Montalto just was always out of that one. And Shannon Burns will have the set shot. Well within range, 45 out.
Again, that was just an example of they're dominating the clearances, Deer Park. They're winning in the ruck, and they're also winning at the clearances, and they're just muscling the ball forward and making the most of the chances when they do.
Shannon Burns, normally a pretty good finisher, and that's their first blemish on the day. 6-1-37 to 1-1-7 Werribee Districts. 24 and a bit minutes gone in this opening term.
A Moslem Pep.
He did indeed. I didn't help. Normally Shannon Burns is a pretty good finisher. Very reliable.
against the breeze too. They'll have the breeze at their backs, or certainly helping them more in the second term, I think, Deer Park. So that's a real worry for Werribee.
So Shebeki out of defence, short to Sullivan, who's in a bit of space on right half back. He can go for a bit of a run.
Ooh.
Kick holds up, doesn't carry too far. The target was Smith, but he had 2 to beat, and in the end, Kelm took the mark. Kicks one of the worst kicks you'll see up towards Ismail. He missed it, gets over the back. Best placed is Shebeki, had 2 against him, tripped over. Then the Lions had the numerical advantage. And Werribee Districts, in the end, pretty happy to escort it out of bounds.
I think that's the thing, Pep, numerical advantage. A lot of these contests, there has been more Deer Park players at the contest than Werribee Districts players, so a bit for Chris Gillen to work on at quarter time.
And again, that's counterintuitive. They're the bigger side. You'd think they'd be slower, but and Werribee would have the speed advantage. It's not playing out that way.
From the ball up, we'll get another ball up, just in front of the Deer Park interchange bench. Sullivan and Stewart to do the ruck work. Stewart wins it with the left hand, only as far as Molovas, who got around the opponent, then kicked it to centre wing. Guess what? 2-1 in favour of the Lions, and it's Kelm who takes the mark.
Tall timber is having an impact. They're just taking many more marks around the ground. Deer
He
Park.
sat it up there on Britton's head. Dean came over to spoil. Ball spelt to the back. Tim Sullivan tries to come in for the Lions. Couldn't gain possession. Now it ends up with Scudamore there for the Tigers. He kicks it into no man's land. There's only one man there. It's Jackson Barling. Will it stay in for him? It does. He has time to handball over the top to Knight. He got it to Greenhoff. He's got plenty of time to have a look around. Kicks a high ball to half forward. A lot of Tigers around there. Out came Perkins. Dropped the mark. Almost beats for even. Shebeki's there. Got it to Harris. Now they look to run out of the fence through Molovas for the Tigers. The ball goes to the outer side. It's going to roll out of bounds. Centre wing, outer side, right under the old scoreboard here at Soldiers Reserve. 26 and a half minutes played. It is a 5-goal lead to the Lions, 6-1-37 to 1-1-7.
They desperately needed a late one here, but they don't look like getting one. They're hardly getting it past halfway at the moment, Werribee.
And every time they do, they're under so much pressure, they're just bombing it, and it's always... they're outnumbered inside 50 against that really tall Deer Park defence, and it's going to be another throw-in on the wing.
It's a good advantage in it. Kelm starts in the ruck,
floats back,
and then Stewart does the rucking from half forward up, it seems, doesn't it?
And Sullivan's just being worked over. We saw, I think last time we were here last year against Altona, he was outstanding, Sullivan, but he's been nullified so far today. Sullivan
front spot. Neither ruck's got a tap. Then Britton got a bit of a knockdown to McCarg, who throws it onto the boot. Out in front there of Burns. Well done by Harris. Taps it to his advantage. Tries to stay away from Burns, and those young legs do so. Kicks up towards half forward. Oh, almost a wonderful mark there by Tim Knight, and it's been paid, which isn't the right call because it hit the ground, but he was out of spot.
Spot fires here. It's on behind play. Chris Stewart is involved. I think it's broken up now, though.
So McCarg through the middle for Van Reed. High ball to half forward. Should have the numbers here. The Tigers, it didn't work out that way. Clicks, burrows through. Hand pass out towards Sullivan. High ball inside the 50. Redpath caught behind. Well done by Caleb Sullivan. Knocks it out to Viojo Rainbow, who steps around Van Reet. Pokes a kick poorly. Sullivan, that's Tim for the Lions. Backwards to Britton, and he kicks to Redpath with courage. Seawork into the path of Redpath. He did well, but it didn't help. Burns to Clicks. Inside out, check side misses. Deserved better in the end. The margin is 31 points. 6-2-38 Deer Park. Werribee Districts stranded on 1-1-7. We've gone 28 and a half minutes of this opening term, so quarter time can't be too far away.
Some dark clouds around too if the rain comes.
I was just about to say, Kate.
Scoring is going to be even more difficult, and Werribee have already got a fair margin to bridge.
Kicking for the Tigers. Well, it's spoilt though. At half back now, the Lions go forward again, and a quick kick is marked by Plumridge. He got to handball over to Seaweck. Gets it clear and kick outside defensive 50. Barling worked his way to the front. There's a whistle, and the free kick's going to go to Barling. Worked his way in front. Well done there by the defender, Jackson Barling. The free kick, centre wing, outer side. 29 played, and there's a siren for quarter time here at Soldiers Reserve, and it's a fast start to the Lions. 6-2.
Just couldn't go with the torp, and he's about 200 metres from goal.
Oh. Why not? It's a stat. So the Lions lead by 31 points at quarter time, 6-2-38 to 1-1-7 here at our WRFL match of the day here on 88.9 Win FM. Goal kickers to the green off, the singles to Ismail, Aramantides, Perkins and Sullivan. That's Deer Park. And for the Tigers, it's just one to Cameron Lee, who got the opening goal of the game, the 4.5-minute mark of the opening quarter. But at quarter time here at Soldiers Reserve, it's Deer Park leading by 31 points. We'll be back after this break.
They have, which we talked about before the opening bounce. That was really evident in that quarter with just their strength around the footy and their dominance of the overall game. So will it continue? We'll soon find out.
All right, so we have got underway in the second term, and the clearance goes the Lions' way through Van Reed, who off the back edge of the square bundles one out towards the wing. It's gathered by Ismail. He hooks a kick back towards Galea, who was well corralled by Sullivan, but Galea still got his hands to it. He kicks a high ball inside 50. But it's chopped off by the Tigers, and they can relieve themselves out wide through the agency of Naif Hamad, who marks at right half-back, 40 metres from his defensive goal. He sits it on the head of Prismal, who marks, wheels onto his preferred left boot, kicks in the Sullivan direction. Stewart worried him out of it, then was knocked over there. Inside 50 was Junker. He's still on the ground level.
Hit the deck pretty hard, and
he's slow to get up. Lee gets onto it meanwhile inside 50 and misses a very valuable chance for the Tigers. So 1-2-8 to 6-2-38.
He's gotten up now. He's pushed away the trainer, but it was sort of just on the corner of the centre square area here, so it would have been a pretty hard part of the ground. It's a pretty dry ground at the moment anyway, but he's up and going again, Oscar Junker. Werribee can hardly afford to lose him.
6-2 to 1-2. So the first scoring attempt goes to Werribee Districts in this second term. That's a horrible kick in for Deer Park. It opens the door for Dundon, who fists it forward. Well done by McCarg in defence. Gets it back towards Knight. High ball out of defence. Searching for Amarantides, who's been busy. It bounces at his bootlaces, which must have been over the boundary line because it's been signalled out of bounds on the full on that outer side.
It's pretty blustery now. It has been all day, but it looks like the wind may have switched a bit towards the south.
Seemed to be laying straight across the ground. There's a few spots of rain, nothing major at this stage, but shouldn't affect the game at all. The rain, still the wind's the problem. As the Tigers go from half back to half forward, the long ball inside 50 clears a few players and lands in the arms of Dylan Viojo Rainbow.
Just some around the ground scores. Willow in Division 1, Sunshine 3-4-22 over Albion 2-4-16. Altona by 7 points over Caroline Springs. Spotswood by 4 points over St Albans. And obviously here it's a big lead for the Lions.
And a shot on goal here to Viojo Rainbow, and that came as the product of them winning some contested footy, the Tigers, which is something that's been a rarity for them so far, and they need to do a lot more of.
Viojo Rainbow looking to get a desperately needed goal for his side. It's going to kick from about 30 metres directly in front. Left foot on its way is good, and that's the start they needed here in the second quarter. Viojo Rainbow gets his first of the afternoon, cuts the margin back to 24 points. It is Deer Park 6-2-38, Werribee Districts 2-2-14. 2 3/4 minutes played second quarter.
Yeah, well, that will really give them a bit of a lift after quarter time. Chris Gillam, as we heard, tried to keep things pretty calm at the break and just said, keep doing what you're doing. You're playing well. You're just not getting on the scoreboard. Well, they, won some clearances in that passage of play, got it forward, and then a lovely shot on goal. And, they're not too far away, especially if the wind continues to switch around and favours that clubhouse end. A few more and they're right back in this.
So back in the middle. Margin 24 points, so not out of reach. No rain yet, but it looks like we might get some at some point. Ismail gets the clearance. Wobbly ball didn't travel too far, but in the perfect spot was Williams, who sets it in the Redpath direction, who's well set. Was good spoil in the end by Johnston for the Tigers, and they should be able to exit pretty stress-free. They've got it to left half back, the Tigers. Mark's been taken by Caleb Sullivan. He sends a long ball down the wing. They've got the numbers. They almost got in each other's way, but Molavas takes the mark, and the radar does show there's a bit of rain around, but whether it floats in the Werribee direction, we'll have to wait and see. Prismal gets the hand pass, wobbles a kick. Junkers well placed, couldn't quite take the mark. It was a good spoil there from Jacko Barling, and he kills it. Throw in, left forward pocket for the Tigers, down by 24. 4 minutes gone second term on 88.9 Win FM.
That was a terrible kick into the forward 50. On a day like this, up and under, high, floating balls like that, doesn't matter if you've got Wayne Carey down there, they're not going to mark like that in these conditions.
Throw in. Stewart with a double fist. The ball still inside 50. Junker lays a strong tackle and we'll get a ball up 40 around from the Tigers' goal in front of their club rooms. Tossed back up. Stewart at the back. Far as Seaweck. He snapped a quick one to the hot spot. Fisted away there by the Lions defence. Ends up with Burns. He got a handball over to Knight. He gave it to McCarg. He got it to Greenhoff. Now a handball over the top. That one's missed the target. Look for Amrantid. He's missed it. But ends up back there with McCarg. He got it to Burns. Back to McCarg. Wheels around on his right foot. Gets a little handball away there to Jones, and they still link by hands. End up back with Greenhoff. He kicks a high ball inside 50 in the red path direction. He's nudged under the contest there by Johnston. Ball spills to the back. Harris is there. Can't pick it up. Socket off the ground. It's going to be a goal. It is Aramatides. He just socketed it forward to himself and then kicked it off the goal line. And another one for the Lions. Their 7th of the afternoon takes the margin back to 30 points. It is 7-2-44 to 2-2-14. 5.5 played second quarter.
Well, that's a gut punch for Werribee because they'd started the quarter well, but Deer Park there just kept the handballs going. It looked like they were backpedaling a few times. Werribee trying to corral them and pressure them, but they just kept their feet, climbing McCarg like a ballet dancer. He just kept tiptoeing around, edging out of tackles, keeping the ball moving. Eventually they got it forward, and a pretty sloppy goal really with a soccer through. That'll hurt the Tigers.
Sullivan leapt early, missed it. Stewart didn't even go up for it. It falls to Van Reet, gets the clearance, kicks a high ball. Amarantidis tried to flick it around his back. He was caught high. And he will get the free kick. He gives it over towards McCarg. He didn't blaze away. Instead, he dinks it into the pocket. Back with the flight, getting in the way of McCarg there. In the end was Stewart. And then the Tigers can exit the 50, but again to about a 3-on-1. Sullivan, rather Viojo Rainbow did really well. Clever little kick towards Molavas. Kicks one out inside the 50. Good opportunity for Rainbow in the goal square, and in the end it's going to be seen through. Or is it? Lee pounces, opens the door, and it's a goal to the Tigers with the instant reply. And it is Lockie Rainbow who benefits on the error on the goal line for the Lions, and the Sabertooth Club are up and about. 3-2-20 the Tigers. Back within 24 points. Deer Park 7-2-44. 7 gone of the second.
It was a pretty similar goal to the one at the other end a few moments earlier. Just a bit of a miscalculation on the line and socketed through. And you could hear in the effects mic there, the home crowd are getting pretty excited. Even though there's still a fair way back on the scoreboard, they just look a bit more competitive in general play, and they keep in this game. There's still a chance here, Werribee. They're just going to keep plugging away and try and avoid giving away soft goals at the other end.
Back in the middle, Kelm wins it down straight to McCarg. Did really well. Then a handball back to Van Reet, who has time to run and get the clearance. Kicks up, will float her inside 50. Stewart from the side, marks on his chest. Had the run at it there, Chris Stewart, the champ from Deer Park. Takes the mark, 20 out directly in front, and another opportunity for a quick reply for the Lions.
The old firm, Van Reet onto Chris Stewart from the side. I've got to say, Van Reet is a bit lucky. He ran a long way there. Umpires don't really pay that one anymore.
So Stewart pokes at it and gets the goal. And again, the quick reply. It's goal for goal in this second quarter so far. And the margin back to 30 points. 3-2-20 Werribee Districts trailing Deer Park 8-2-50. 8 played second quarter.
Yeah, Van Reet run a long way, and he's lucky the umpires don't really pay that free kick too much anymore. But Chris Stewart still took a great mark, and Werribee again conceding a soft goal after they got one. And Deer Park just seemed to have all the answers.
Well, 8 goals, and we're only 8 minutes into the second quarter, so they can't keep that up defensively. Werribee and expect to win. There's no question about that. Back in the middle, Sullivan and Stewart, the goal kicker. Rather Kelm, sorry. It comes to McCarg. Everyone else stopped. McCarg bursts free into space. Kicks up towards Galea. Had it spoiled away from him, but he got it off to Amarantidis, who was spun in the tackle. The umpire held his whistle. At the back is Thar for the Tigers. Steps around one and then delivers nicely to Matt Dean, who's been a little quiet lately. His kick went behind his intended target. Redpath gave it to Stewart, who's lurking in the goal square, and he misses he kicks the goal. that was unmissable. 9-2-56 Deer Park. 3-2-20 Werribee Districts. It's a 36-point lead. It's a game high. And an error from Matt Dean. So uncharacteristic. And they're up against it now, the Tigers.
Yeah, and you can just see the Werribee players, a few heads dropped a little bit there. That's a real sucker punch. And after they've worked so hard at the start of this quarter to get back into a competitive position, they've just conceded 3 very soft goals. And you wonder whether they can get back from here.
It's got a long road back. It's got to start now. Umpire throws it up. Kelm wins it. Tharg got a little handball out to the wing. It ended up Van Reet paddling forward. Went to Shebeki. Van Reet tried to tackle him. Shebeki with a fend off, one twice. He did it well there. Ends up handballing to Plumridge. Kicks a high ball straight up and under. Players stand under it. No mark taken. Dean did really well. Attacked it hard. Got a handball forward, but it might come back the other way. Coming in there's Junker. They link by hands to the Tigers, but they've hit a brick wall. And that brick wall is Kwame McCarg.
And again, it looks like there's a bit of a spot fire breaking out. There's a lot of niggle in this game. Scudamore and a Deer Park player I can't identify were having a bit of a set too.
So Lions get it to centre wing. Perkins leads up from full forward. He does a little chip over the top to Burns in front of the Tigers interchange bench. Burns goes looking for Redpath. It's a good kick. He takes it 60 from goal.
He's presented a bit more in this term, Redpath.
Redpath goes in the Stewart direction, but in front there's Caleb Sullivan. Got hands to it. Tim Sullivan dropped it. Caleb comes in to do the tackling. Quick kick from defence goes by Scudamore in the Junker direction. He's one-on-one there with Barling, but the boundary line wins out, and it's out of bounds in front of the Werribee Districts interchange area.
Yeah, Redpath.
There's a whistle.
They're giving away a free kick.
They're giving away a free kick.
I think it's going the Tigers' way against Barling.
Barling was getting into his opponent.
Yeah, Mollivis.
No, it looks like Barling's got the free
kick. Yeah,
against
Mollivis. Don't know what that was for, but a little push and shove going on. He chips it over the top there, finds Jones.
Barling looked like he was the instigator there, but he's sucked his opponent in and got the free kick.
Yep, that's exactly what's happened, Cade.
Taylor Jones kicks a high ball, goes inside 50. Looking to Stewart, got his hands to it. Will Sullivan does the spoiling. Ball goes towards the boundary line. It's kept in. Quick kick out of defence by the Tigers. Rolls back towards the interchange bench. Barling lays a tackle, but the ball goes out of bounds and we'll get a throw in. Nearly 12 minutes played. Second quarter, 36 points the margin in favour of the Tigers here on 88.9 Win FM. Throwing in front of the Tigers interchange bench.
So frustrating start to the Tigers so far. Kelm knocks it forward. Clicks was the intended target, and then there's a free kick being paid. It's going to Amarantidis right in front of the Tigers interchange bench, just forward of the wing on the club room side of the ground. He hand passes over the top. Kick inside 50. Perkins the target, but in from the side there.
Wind has dropped off a bit.
Short pass to Caleb Sullivan, who takes the mark, still inside defensive 50. Not a whole lot to kick to. He goes out wide to Lee Johnston, who marks it right half back. Hamad wants it close to the boundary. Kick was a bit more incisive than that. Pizzuto, we haven't called his name too many times. Galea did well, got around a couple of tackles. Kicks a high ball. There's a nest of Tigers. They should be able to kill this. They don't. Spills off hands. Perkins wobbles the ball. Stewart's underneath. He doesn't normally drop these. He does. He tries to hack it out of midair. He gets onto it again. He goes for the banana. It's curling. Not enough.
Is it?
It's on the line. Perkins gets it. It seemed inevitable. And the Lions will score a goal from point blank. It'll be Perkins, and it's a 42-point lead to Deer Park. 10-2-62 to 3-2-20. And Soldiers Reserve has gone silent.
And that was just an example of strength again. You know, this Deer Park side, they were just able to burst through tackles continuously and keep the ball moving. You know, Chris Stewart up there didn't take the mark, was able to keep his body position, keep his opponent out of it, gather the ball on the boundary line, you know, float a ball back towards the goal square where Perkins, again, with strength, was just able to win the one-on-one, take the mark and kick the goal. They're just bullying Werribee around the contest at the moment, and it's hard to see how the home team can counter it.
Last 3 goals of the game in favour of the Lions to take the margin to a game high 42 points. Straight shooting as well. 10-2 they are. 62. Umpire restarts play. Sullivan wins it down. This ball still loose in the centre. Burns runs onto it for the Lions. Goes inside 50 looking for Perkins. Mark probably should have marked out in front. He ended up dropping it. Shibeki, that's gone, holding the ball. Great tackle. Aramatidis. Galea plays on quickly, gives it to Short. Handballs over the top, and there's another one to Redpath. Too easy for the Lions as they make the margin 48 points midway through the second quarter.
See over the line there, Redpath. I reckon if he was in the AFL, we might have gone upstairs to have a look. He looked like he was very close to the goal line, but it doesn't matter. He's kicked it, and this is really getting out of hand now. Werribee, they just look a bit demoralised, and not only are they down on the scoreboard, but trying to get back into the game, they're taking it on a bit, running out of half-back, and because they're under pressure, they're turning the ball over, and Deer Park are just feasting on their mistakes. This could really get ugly.
48 points. Couldn't have fathomed a worse start if you're a Tigers fan. Out of the middle, they win the clearance through Prismal. High ball, but only as far as Britton, who had knocked out of his hands afterwards by Seaweck. The umpire won't penalise him further. So Britton from left half back, not a lot on offer. He sets it on the head of Calm, who has to float back. Sullivan did well to spoil, but only as far as Calm. Dinking little kick up the line to Galea, who's escorted over the boundary line by Daniel Shibeki, right in front of our commentary position at Soldiers Reserve. 88.9 Win FM. If you're listening, it's 90.1 for the undelayed feed. If you're a Tigers fan listening at home, you might want to turn it off. 48 points, halfway through the second quarter. Calm wins it down. First hands to it to Burns. He was dispossessed. It spills through to Galea, out to McCarg. Drills a ball up in the Clicks direction. Opens the way for Amarantidis. Can he gather? He does. Then he had his head taken off. And the non-officiating umpire called it.
Confusion.
Two free kicks. One played holding the ball. The other one's paid high. Either way, it's a free kick to Deer Park, and that's another aspect here, because they're second to the ball so often, and because they're chasing the game, they're also giving away a lot of soft frees here, Werribee, and again, Deer Park are just feasting on those opportunities, and they got another one here. So
he did slip at the last moment there. Amarantidis had his head taken off. One of the umpires said play on, the other called high, and then the umpire that originally called play on came in and pinged him for holding the ball. So that was overruled by the umpire who
they got it right,
paid it high, which was the right call, and Amarantidis is coming in for number 3. He'll kick from 45 out, slightly left of centre. He's been good in front of the sticks today, and he has kicked another. And they are kicking away 54 points. His third goal, Spiros Amarantidis, 12-2-74 to 3-2-20. It's an annihilation so far from the 6-time reigning champions. 17 minutes gone in the second quarter. And you can only see it getting worse the way things are going. And I said before the game I thought Deer Park would come out and make a statement today, and they're certainly doing that. And they really want to put away one of their main challenges. The margin is 54 points at the moment. Could get a fair bit more than that. I think this could really blow out. Amarantidis the first with 3 this afternoon. Umpire restarts play. Kelm gets it down with the right hand. Seaweck, though, is going to get the clearance for the Tigers as he kicks it inside 50. As it carries on the wind, it does, and it lands in the lap of Oscar Junker, who will go back for his first of the afternoon, 20 metres out directly in front. Well, they finally won a centre clearance. There hasn't been too many of those today for Werribee, and they showed what they can do if they do get their first hands on the footy. And Junker on the lead there, a bit too quick for Jackson Bailey. Needs to go back and kick the goal, though. So 54 points the margin. Deer Park, the last 5 of the game. So it's a must-kick goal here for Junker. Comes in left foot, looks pretty good, and he's got it. Oscar Junker's first of the afternoon, breaks the run of 5 straight for the Lions, cuts the margin back to 48 points. It's 4-2-26, Werribee Districts trail Deer Park 12-2-74, 18 and a half played second quarter. Well, it's an example of what they can do, Werribee, if they can just win at the clearances. That was Seaweck in there getting the centre clearance and kicking it forward. And I think Junker, after kicking that goal, has now gone into the ruck. So we'll see how that works for them. But they've got to try and kick consecutive goals. They haven't kicked back-to-back goals all day, and that's something that Deer Park have done. So Oscar Junker, having kicked the goal, is into the ruck against Calm. He got a fair share of it, and they win Hamad almost got the clearance. It was smothered off the boot, but then bursting through and winning the clearance in the end was Viojo Rainbow. Kicks a wide ball searching for Thar, who was corralled well by Britain close to the boundary. It will be thrown in at right half forward, right next to the Sabertooth Club. 10 from 10, Chris Skillam said. You're going to have to do well to keep that streak going.
Need to get the next goal, Werribee. Deer Park have been able to answer each time they've got a goal. Need to get the next one. From
the throw-in, Calm took it cleanly out of the ruck. It should have been marked pretty easily there by Cameron Lee. He dropped what he should have taken, but he mopped up well, got around Amarantidis, dinks a kick well for Viojo Rainbow. On the wings, they've got a bit of possession, at least at the moment, the Tigers.
Just to move it quicker.
Viojo Rainbow wheels onto the right boot, gets a deep entry inside 50. Hamad's lurking at the back. In fact, it's Pizzuto, and he takes the mark. Straight in front, 20 out. Can this be the second consecutive goal you were searching for, Cade, that the Tigers were searching for? Can they get a bit of momentum as we head into time on in the second quarter? They need every ounce of it.
He's near enough directly in front, only 20-odd metres out, and that was much better ball movement. The kick inside 50 was beautiful, and Pizzuto now needs to finish off.
Pizzuto kicks the goal, 2 in a row. In a short space of time for the Tigers. Back to 42. Not getting carried away just yet. He's one of those players who needs to get amongst it if the Tigers are to claw their way back. 5-2-32, Werribee Districts trailing Deer Park 12-74. It's been 6 goals to 4 this quarter, so plenty of scoreboard action.
That was a bit better from Werribee though. They won the ball clearance and got it on the outside where they're strong, and they got a bit of space and a bit of room to move the ball and to use their kicking skills. And what do you know? They got it deep inside the 50, took a mark, kick a goal. If they can just try and do that a bit more often, and try and string a few together, who knows? Maybe we're not without a contest.
10 goals, 1 kick this quarter, Pepe. So. Great kicking by both sides. Deer Park with 6 straight. Umpire throws it up. Junker wins it down against Kelm. Ismail's wrapped up in a tackle, taking the ground ball up again. You're listening to the WRFL match of the day here on 88.9 Win FM. As the umpire gets it going, Kelm belts it forward. Still a hot ball. Plenty of players around. Burns with a little handball. Did well. Got it to Tim Sullivan. Hurry kick out of the pack. Gets it to half forward. Ends up with McCarg now. He saw Burns coming past. Burns with a juggle. Then a hurried wobbler inside 50. It's going to put the Werribee District's defence under pressure. Off the ground is Stewart. He'll try anything and then belted across the line there by Josh Harris for a rush behind for the Lions, and it's 43 points to margin, 5-2-32 to 12-3-75, and the quick kick comes out of defence, lands in the hands of Hamad. He plays on, goes a short ball looking for Prismal, who marks in front of Jones on centre wing. He wheels on his left boot, kicks to centre half forward. Barling comes across, almost taken a mark there by Rainbow. Still a loose ball, ends up with Dundon, swings a handball out wide there. Players come from everywhere. Mollivet's got a little handball away, got it to Viojo Rainbow, who's on his left boot, pokes a little one to Dundon. Umpire said it was far enough. Dundon goes towards goal, but it goes across the face and misses to the far side. 5-3-33, the Tigers leading Werribee Districts 12-3-75, 22 and 3/4 played second quarter.
They've lifted a bit, Werribee. If they can just jag another goal or 2 here, that would really give them a sniff going into half-time. Still a fair way back, though.
Yeah, if they're within 5 or 6 at the half, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. We know they're capable. We know Deer Park are at times vulnerable. They've been beaten heavily by Altona already this season, but they stream through the middle here. McCarr gave it off to Amarantidis, 1 out to Stewart. He's too strong. Hand passes over to Perkins. They might have tried to do too much. Perkins on the left. Has he squeezed it through? He has. Well, potentially trying to do too much, but they're being unselfish, Deer Park, and they go out to 48 points clear again. 23 and a half minutes gone. 13-3-81 to 5-3-33.
Yeah, they've just got too much tall timber up in the forward line, and Werribee just can't cover them all. Often Stewart is one-on-one down there, isolated with Sullivan, and he's just too big and strong for him. And if it's not him, it's Perkins, and if it's not him, it's Redpath. And yeah, that's I think Werribee are just spread a bit too thin down there.
It was a big mismatch just then. Stewart and Josh Harris, huge height advantage. Back in the middle, Calm wins the ruck contest. He gathers us out of there, and then he's pinged for holding the ball because he dropped it cold.
Got to know your limitations, son.
So Seaweck has the free kick in the middle. Just backwards of the centre circles. Tries to move it on quickly. Kicks up towards half forward. Does well. Spots up Jacob Smith. Sets sail from a long way out. And it just misses to the right. 5-4-34 to 13-3-81. So it's a 47-point margin.
Still plenty of passion among the Werribee fans, as we can hear in the effects mic. They haven't lost the appetite for the contest.
They certainly have not. It's a big lead to reel in, though, if you're the Tigers. Britton out of defence, long ball down the clubroom's wing. Big spoil came from Molavas, was timely into the lap of Sir Rob Ismail, who was out of play, so it'll be thrown in 70 metres out from the Tigers' goal. Can't be too far away from a half-time siren.
It's a big margin, but especially when you're up against the 6-time reigning premiers, not often they get beaten when they've got to start like this.
Calm wins it down, somehow gets it back, gains his team about 30 metres down the wing into a bit of space. Coming up from half forward, there is Perkins. Tried to give it over towards Burns, who missed it, and then Perkins went to mop up. He let it go. Harris picks up the footy in the middle. He was tackled, and the Tigers win the turnover, but only as far as McCarg, who floats a kick forward into space. Here's Galea. He has to get around Dean. He does. All he needs to do is find a target inside 50, and he spots up Perkins, who's got Burns working into an acre of space. Instead, he goes towards Stewart, and it was well done in the end by Sullivan, who got it over the top towards Johnston. And again, I mentioned it earlier, the overuse by Deer Park on display there, there's no question. And they just made a bit of a meal of it, and the Tigers escape just, but it's still inside 50 for Deer Park. It'll be a throw-in.
Probably been a bit too unselfish going forward. I suppose they can afford to when they've got the lead they've got.
Sullivan wins it down. Montalto gathers, spins out of a tackle, kicks wide for Prismal, who takes the mark in front of Tester. What can he do with it? Has to get onto his preferred left. Dinks it short to Molavas, who also wants to use his left boot. He squares it up, searching for Sullivan. Had it knocked away from him by Clicks. He searched for Seaweck, and then it comes forward to Shebeki, the captain. Long way from home. Kicks to a vacant goal square. One-on-one contest. Brilliant one-on-one effort there from Cameron Lee. And he will have the set shot from about 15 out directly in front. In fact, it wasn't Lee. It was Lockie Rainbow, who kicked a good goal earlier.
Pizzuto went to ground afterwards, but I think there might have been more than a bit of acting going on there.
Lockie Rainbow, he's got one already. Absolutely must kick this. Shouldn't miss from here, and he does not. He gives them some hope with his second goal. 41 points the difference. The Tigers 6-4-40, trailing Deer Park 13-3-81. We're deep into time on in the second term, close to time on Win FM. Pepe Cavalieri, Andrew Wilson, Cade Lucas and Sarah Ramontanis with you.
Well, they've kicked 5 goals in this term, Werribee, which looks good, except that Deer Park have kicked 7 and already had a healthy break at quarter time. So, look, Deer Park, occasionally they're looking quite good. Shebeki got clear there, got on the run for one of the rare times today, delivered nicely into the 50 and ended up in a goal. They've got to avoid giving away soft goals at the other end, though. Deer Park almost always have replied.
Well, you'd think they'd have to get to half-time without conceding. Again, if they'd have any chance and maybe add one themselves. Seaweck was under pressure as he kicked. He got it up towards half-forward. Viojo Rainbow let it slip through his fingers. There's a whistle. It's going the Tigers' way. It's going to be, I think, Bailey Seaweck's ball. It does come back to him eventually. He's a long way from home. Just out at left half forward. Got to get it moving, the Tigers. Kicks inside the 50. Pizzuto leaps from the back and waiting underneath again. No, it's been a shepherd paid.
Oh dear,
and the Sabertooth Club are not pleased with that decision.
No.
It is a Lions ball at fullback. Troy Kelm has the football. He sends it out the clubroom's wing, searching for Greenhoff, who, after a really good start, we haven't really seen a whole lot of him since. But he comes into the play now and takes the mark at right half-back.
We were a long way away, but that did look a bit soft, that free kick. Of course, the umpire's a lot closer than us.
Greenhoff sends it down the wing, searching for Redpath, who had to spoil from the back. Sullivan couldn't claim the mark. Good pressure by the Tigers. It spills out, though, to McCarg, who sweeps a hand pass forward to Clicks, who was sandwiched between Montalto and Shebeki, who are happy to have scored it out in front of their interchange bench. 13-3-81 Deer Park, Werribee Districts 6-4-40. 29 and a quarter minutes gone in this second quarter. Very close to half-time.
Thrown back in, Kelman to do the ruck work in front, wins it down. Bit of paddle it forward there was Dean, but ends up with Van Reet. He gets a torp to half forward, but it's well wide and goes out of bounds on the full. So free kick left half back will go the way of Josh Harris for the Tigers. Goes short to Dean. Oh, he's having the fumbles this afternoon. Not a great afternoon for Matty Dean, former Barrier Priest medalist. But he butted up and did a short pass, but Tester cut it off. Dundon charges at full speed. But he's taken over the line by Tester, and we're going to throw in centre wing out of side as we're about to tick over the 13-minute mark of this second quarter. 41-point lead to the Lions, 13-3 to 6-4. Sullivan and Kelm to do the ruck work. Sullivan reaches over the top, done as far as Van Reed, who got another torpedo away. This time it lands in the arms of Perkins. It's probably about 75 from goal. Just pokes one over the top. Did well there to Clicks, who looked to play on. It's held up.
He's got a
Clicks
red parts all in his
centering ball. He goes in that direction, Cade, but it's well spoilt though. But ends up with Krathara. It's got a handball over to Galea. Galea's got Burns all on his own in the goal square, and he marks it. But he looked like he might have stuffed it up at one stage, but he didn't. It could have been a bit of a blooper, but the mark's been paid in the goal square, so Burns goes back from directly in front and kicks another for the Lions. 47 points the margin now. We're approaching 31 minutes now of this second quarter, so it's going to be a big half-time lead to the Lions when the siren blows to end the half.
And that reversed free kick down the other end a few moments earlier just looks even more damaging for Werribee, because had they kicked the goal there, it would have got the margin under 40 points in the shadows of half-time and given them some hope. But as they often have done today, Deer Park take it down the other end, get an overlap in the forward 50, get extra numbers in the forward 50 and kick another goal. And, gee, it's hard to see anything other than a Deer Park win now. Sullivan
wins it down, and Deer Park eventually extricate it. McCarg to Kratharis, out wide to Galea. Everyone's contributing so far. 31 and a half minutes gone. Van Reed instructs Galea just to slow it down. He does for a moment, then kicks to a 2-on-1. It was wind, comes over the back. Burns gathers beautifully, just gains his balance. Drop punt from the boundary. Sublime. 2 goals right in deep in red time, and that is a real killer if you're a Werribee Districts fan. 53 points, and it's on between Shebeki and Redpath and Co. at half forward. It's 15-3-93 Deer Park. Werribee Districts 6-4-40, and Shannon Burns, who'd only kicked the 2 behinds for the half, chimes in with a couple in 30 seconds. And, well, the game gets further and further away from the Tigers.
That hurts. Right on half-time, Shannon Burns, lovely goal on the run. Gee, they've made the most of their opportunities, Werribee. Deer Park, they've had plenty of them, but they've kicked them from everywhere.
Back in the middle, Sullivan wins it down. Matt Dean tries to do something positive, kicks into the 50, just didn't quite find his target. Knight was dumped at half forward, and it will be a ball up. 33 minutes gone just about, so a very, very long quarter. 9 goals they've kicked this quarter, Deer Park. They are a prolific team in front of the sticks. The Tigers, though, from the stoppage, try to get it inside the 50. And Greenhoff, who's been put back there just to stem the tide, takes the mark.
33 minutes played, 14 goals kicked this quarter. It's been 9 goals to 5 in favour of the Lions. Greenhoff deep in defence. Kicked the opening goal for the Lions. Kicks at the centre wing, and there it is. Siren for half-time, and it's not pretty reading if you're a Werribee Districts fan. They trail by 53 points at the main break. 6-4-40 to 15-3-93. 21 goals in the opening half combined for the both teams. It's been a bit of a shootout, but the shootout has certainly advantaged Deer Park. We'll run through the goal kickers. Firstly, for the Lions, 3 goals to Jace Perkins and Spiros Aramantidis. 2 to Greenhoff, Stewart, and Shannon Burns, who got the last two of the half. Singles to Ismail, Sullivan and Redpath. And for Werribee Districts, it's all singles. It's Pizzuto, Lee, Rainbow, Viojo, Rainbow and Junker. So it's half-time here in a WRFL match of the day here on 88.9 Win FM. 53 points is the margin in favour of the Lions. We'll be back after this break.
You were listening.
Looks like we're about to get underway here in the second half.
Second half about to get underway. Umpire throws the ball up. It's 53 points, the margin in favour of Deer Park. Van Reek gets a quick hurry clearance to half forward. Might come back, it's picked up by Shebeki. Just hacks the left footer in the Prismal direction. He got the ball bounce, ended up sitting up nicely there for Jones. He got a clearing kick to the wing, and it's marked there by Sorob Ismail, just inside the centre square. He goes to the 45-degree pass to the centre half forward, but it's all Tigers back there as Hamad takes the mark. He goes short ball out wide to Plumridge. Marks at right half back. Was it Smith? He goes down the wing, clears all players, rolling towards the boundary line, then eventually rolls out of bounds. Centre wing out of side.
It'd be really interesting to see how Werribee come out in this third term. Do they just sort of go through the motions and tacitly accept the result, or do they really come hard at Deer Park and try and at least salvage something?
Yeah, it's going to be big test for them, isn't it? 53 points down at the main break. Throw in, no rucks able to get their hand on it. McCarg tries to paddle it to his teammate Ismail. He ran past it. Ball still on the deck there. Coming at Aramentiti's been fantastic today. Got a handball to Van Reet. He got a hurry left foot kick there to half forward. Quick handball goes back in the McCarg directions, but it's chopped off there by Viojo Rainbow. Got a handball back. Now the kick goes in the Seawick direction, but coming back bravely. Beautiful mark there. Jackson Barling took a terrific mark at left half back, running back with the flight.
I suppose you'd say when you're built like he is, you could afford to be brave, but that was still, gutsy, going back with the flight of the ball.
So he drives the high ball in the Redpath direction. The centre half forward nudged his opponent under it beautifully, did Redpath. Again, he's taken all his marks, about 70 from goal, and this one's no different. Now he kicks to full forward in the Stewart direction. 1-2 grabs. Ball still loose. Galea dragged off. The umpire says player not holding the ball. And there's finally a whistle.
And it's on again. This time it looks like they might be serious.
So there's a bit of a scuffle going on.
And it's right
in the left forward pocket. The umpire quickly throws the ball back in. Sullivan uncontested, double hands it straight down to Matty Dean. He kicks a shocking kick, chopped off by Greenoff. He had Lee all by himself. The umpire calls play on now for Greenoff. He's forced to kick a wobbly floater. Will it stay in bounds? It does. Shannon Burns marks in front of the Sabertooth Club, and he's every chance from here, Shannon Burns, but he doesn't waste any time. Kicks a low ball, went for the pass, scrubbed under a couple of players there. Picked up by Perkins, snaps around the body. There's the first of the second half to Jace Perkins. He's got 4 now, takes the margin to 59 points. And it's a very, very dark day here for Werribee Districts, especially with the big sponsors day, with the Sabertooth Club. Unbelievable.
The Sabertooth Club they're a bit toothless at the moment, and so is the team out in the field, because Deer Park are having their way with them. A first goal of the second half for Jace Perkins, and they're just going to go on their merry way here. It's hard to see how Werribee can really do much about it. We really could. They could be in for a percentage booster here, Deer Park.
Back in the middle, Calm wins it down, searching for McCarg. He got there second, but laid the tackle on Matty Dean. Ball up, still in the centre square. 59 points.
And it's a real test now for Werribee too, just to keep their composure and not let this really get away.
Calm wins it down to Van Reet, who was stripped of the footy at the last moment, and there's a high tackle being laid against Scott Greenhoff on Viojo Rainbow, who works it off quickly to Hamad, who bursts through the middle, kicks inside the 50, gets over the head of the intended target in Caleb Sullivan, quick mops up, and it will be thrown in the right forward pocket, despite the Tigers' pleas for deliberate.
It's a bit of a cliche, but next week's game starts now for Werribee. They don't want to really get completely blown away here, because it could do real psychological damage. They're probably going to have to face Deer Park again if they go deep into the finals. They want to try and salvage something in the second half.
From the throw in, it's going to be a Shepherd. I think it's going the way of, well, Calm thinks he's got the free kick, and no, that's right, he has got the free kick. The umpire pointed the wrong way. I thought it would have been to him, but why do the umpires point the opposite direction? Doesn't make lost on me.
They've only been doing it for 100 years.
Oh,
Come on,
it's
Pep.
diabolical anyway.
Jeez.
You take over, Will. I've had
Kick
enough.
goes in the Stewart direction. He ended up having to be the spoiler. Pepe's cracked it, and the ball's still loose. Now the Tigers look to run away with it. The handball goes out to Hamad. He goes inside 50. Mark almost taken there by Rainbow. Got hands to it. The loose ball. Handball straight to Greenoff. They did the Tigers player. He gets a hurry kick. Goes back inside the centre square. Shebeki overshot their handball. Prismal tries to run of it. Shebeki followed it up, socketed off the ground. Ends up with Seaweg. Feigned the handball. Wheels back on his left boot. Kicks it straight to the goal line. But there's no one home except Troy Kelm, who marks on the last line of the fence. Goes out to Van Reet in the left back pocket. Sweeps the handball over the top to McCarg. Has time to have a bounce. He'll probably walk a couple of players. Here's what he does, and he did that one. Now he puts the burners on. Handball's over the top to Burns. McCarg keeps running. Can he pick it up on the bounce? Awkward one. 4 Tigers around it. McCarg can't win it this time. Eventually, Tigers get the ball away through Hamad. Now the kick goes to centre half forward. The Deer Park blokes spotted each other. That was Bruin there and Barling, but it's Kelm at the last line of defence again. Ducks under a tackle. The big fella did really well. Handball to Bruin from inside defensive 50. Kicks it in the red path direction. It was worked out of it nicely there by Johnson, but the ball spills to the back of the pack. Picked up by Galea. Short ball over the top. He's got Burns. It'll be downfield or a mark. It doesn't matter. Shannon Burns has got it anyway. In the right forward pocket, in front of the Sabertooth Club. He's good enough to kick it from here. He's Burns. Last time he passed it. Wonder if he'll have a shot this time.
How good was Kelm at the other end? He's just dropped behind play, and whenever Werribee have gone forward, he's been back there as the tall timber.
So Burns has the shot towards goal, misses near side, one behind. 60 points the margin now, even 10 goals. 6-4-40 to 16-4-100. 6.25 minutes played, third quarter.
Shake of the head from a local supporter going past. It's probably a pretty common theme here today. They'd be pretty disappointed with how things have played out so far, Werribee Districts.
So Lee Johnston has the footy. Out of defence for the Tigers. Gets plenty on it. Barling's in the best place to take the mark, and after a couple of juggles, does control it. He can put them back inside 50. He puts it to Redpath, who's got no one near him, and he takes the mark 50 metres out directly in front. He won't have the shot. Instead, he'll kick it to Burns. He'll get a second crack at it, who marks in front of Montalto. A little closer to goal. Slightly angled right of centre, but essentially directly in front.
We're only 7 minutes into the third term, but that was a worrying passage of play. There's just Deer Park players free everywhere. Werribee seem to be dropping their bundle a bit.
Shannon Burns for number 3. Guides it through. Beautiful finish from Shannon Burns. He's got 3, and it's out to 66 points and even 11 goals. 17-4, 106 to 6-4-40. 7.5 minutes gone of the third quarter.
Yeah, there's just players free there that were queuing up. Redpath could have gone himself. He could have gone to Shannon Burns. He could have gone to the top of the goal square. Werribee, not manning up like they were. Their heads are dropped. The intensity's dropped a bit. They look to be just going through the motions, which, given there's the best part of 2 quarters still to go, could make this a pretty long afternoon. And
here's Burns with the last 3 goals of the game, last 2 of the second quarter, first of the third. Play restart. Sullivan wins that one down. Hamad gets the clearance, wobbles one inside 50. Trent Williams, captaining the Lions today, takes a good defensive mark. So Williams looking for options, going to go the outer side in the Clicks direction. And it's on the full, too wide there, so free kick goes the way of the Tigers.
Deer Park supporters near our effects mic certainly haven't lost their voice.
So the kick goes inside 50, plenty of lines around it, ball spills to the back. Barling there just tries to barge his way through, but he's wrapped up in a strong tackle. And we'll get a ball up 15 metres round from the Tigers' goal in the right forward pocket. 8.5 played now, third quarter. 66 points is the lead to the Lions. Toss back up. McCarg, let's get it. Feigns the handball, has another look, then kicks out wide to the other side, goes in the night direction, but the ball holds up. Lee there was able to help out. Tim Sullivan fumbled it. Aaron Britton got the handball over to Van Reet, who gets a little short kick in the Burns direction as a dust storm goes past the van. Got pretty windy there. And the mark's taken by Tester. He goes short, looking for Tim Sullivan, chopped off by Matty Dean. He's had a quiet afternoon. Former Barry Priest medalist.
Coached the Interleague under-18s last week.
No, it wasn't.
Different Matty Dean.
Different Matty Dean, but his brother did captain Victoria to the Shield final, though. Well done to Travis.
I stand corrected. Well, the other Matty Dean led the team to a loss, and this Matty Dean's probably going to be involved in a loss too.
Yeah, and Matty Dean, brother, led Victoria to the Sheffield Shield win.
Okay. Cheerio to all the Deans who might be listening
Shout
out there.
To Trav. Well done, Trav. Go Vicks. Got to try and find something more, some entertainment in the second half here because of a big blowout here.
And cricket might be more entertaining.
So toss back in, Matty Dean runs onto it, handballs back, it's dangerous. Knight runs onto it, he handballs back to McCarg, he had a look and had a little bit of a fumble. Got it to Sullivan. Van Reet was running past, but so was Jones. Jones had handball at the feet of Clicks. He did really well. Clicks loves the outside of the foot kick. This one he got the fat bit and it runs straight out of bounds, and we're going to throw in centre wing out of side. 10 played third quarter. WRFL match of the day here on 88.9. Andrew Wilson, Cade Lucas, Pep Cavalieri, Sarah Raymond. I can't get it right again. Ramatanis, we go.
Just got a wee bit excited there. Kevin Clicks, he beat a few players and thought he could do it all and then sent a shank straight out of bounds.
From the throw-in on the outer side, Calm got front spot, won it down with two hands. Knight an opportunity for the Lions. And Calm is tackling. There will be another ball up. Just near the side of the centre squares on the outer side. The clubroom side, rather. The outer side from where we're watching.
High school side.
From the ball up. There's going to be another stoppage. Ball up on the outer side. Calm wins it down. Clearance goes the way of the Tigers, high up and under, but again well set. It's been the story of the day. Jackson Barling in the way. Chops off and kicks inside the 50 for the Lions. Redpath juggling and marking. He doesn't have the shot from a long way out. He tries to centre it up. It should be a goal anyway. Burns, he turned onto his wrong side, was dispossessed, and the Tigers should escape, but the hand pass was astray by Montalto. Burns gets onto it again, runs head on into a tackle, and the umpire calls, give it to me.
Probably a good decision in the end because the head high was probably there, but he certainly went into it head first, and there wasn't really much his Werribee opponent could have done.
Greenhoff in the ruck this time, wins it down, bursting through. Katharis snaps out of the pack. That's magnificent. They can do not a whole lot wrong today, Deer Park. 18-4, 112. They've barely missed. Werribee Districts 6-4-40. 12 gone of the third term. And that margin is 72 points.
And another contributor and another goal scorer, Karithraris hasn't had a huge day, but he bobs up there and kicks a very nice goal out of a pack. And again, it's just testament to the strength of this side that, you know, very good players haven't really had big days and haven't needed to. You just wonder what they could do if everyone is on song. 9
goal kickers for the Lions this afternoon. Toss back up, Sullivan won it down. Fiojo Rainbow's kick was smothered. Barling came out, strong tackle there by Lockie Rainbow. And we'll get a ball up still inside the centre square. 18-14, 112, Deer Park. Werribee District 6-4-40. That's 72 points the margin. Greenhoff in front with the hit out. Got it down to Katharis. His kick was smothered off the ground. Goes Cameron Lee. Bouncing ball in the CWAC direction. Picked up by Matty Dean. Goes looking for CWAC. The handball landed at his feet. McCarr comes in, lays the tackle. Plenty of lines around the ball, and I come away with it. Ismail got it to Katharis. Got it around Pizzuto. Little bouncing ball out wide. Goes in the Galilee direction. Greenhoff running down the centre of Soldiers Reserve, takes the mark, but he's held up there by Will Sullivan. Wheels around on his right foot. There's Greenhoff. He goes in the Perkins direction, had to the spoil. Does his own crumbing, does Perkins. Snaps towards goal, but it's Stewart. Too big, too strong for Junker. And he's taken the mark in the goal square, and he'll go back from directly front. But he handballs over the Perkins. They reckon the Werribee Districts players reckon it's hit the post. It's touched, so it's a rush behind. So they have mucked around with it a bit too much there, have the Lions. They finally caught up with them.
About as loud as the Sabertooth Club has been all day.
So it's a 73-point lead as the Tigers bring it out. Seawork the target. Short.
Good mark.
He's the shortest man on the ground. He takes a really strong mark out in front there of Tim Knight.
It's pretty good last week for the WRFL too.
And he's going to win a 50-metre penalty as well. Not sure what for.
Just in that previous passage of play, Jacob Smith copped one in the backside from Jace Perkins in the marking contest. He's back up and going, but he'll have a nice old bruise on the bum tomorrow, I fancy.
Yeah, he took a while to get up, didn't he?
It's a lovely image to leave our listeners with, a bruise on the bum.
We'll get on with it. Bailey Seaweck hasn't troubled the scorers today. Every goal's really a consolation from here for the Tigers. He kicks from 45 metres out. The right foot drop punt is fading late, but holding on. And he squeezes it in. His first, and the Tigers 7th. They're 7-4-46, but they're miles behind Deer Park, who are 18-5, 113. And we're about halfway through this third quarter on 88.9 Win FM. Pepe Cavalieri, Andrew Wilson, Cade Lucas and Sarah Ramontanis with you for our Match of the Day coverage.
Well, that's a good goal from Bailey Seaweck. Lovely kick from a fair way out. He did get a 50-metre penalty as well, which helped him get closer, but he certainly tried hard today, as he did last week for the WRFL. He certainly plays much taller than he is. He's only a small man, but he really throws his body in there. But sadly for him, 2 weeks in a row, he's going to be on a losing team.
Back in the middle, Greenhoff wins it down. Got Tim Sullivan tries to get a handball forward, and then Greenhoff becomes ruckman again, paddles it forward. But as far as Josh Mould burst through, did really well there. Hurry kick in the Molavas direction. Can't quite get to the bounce of it, but ends up with Seaweck. He did really well. Wheels back onto his right foot, goes inside 50. Pushed under it there was Lockley Rainbow for the Tigers. The ball spills out the back of the pack. Britton got it to Barling. Back to Britton. Got handball over the top there to Quick. Back to Barling, who runs outside defensive 50. Has a bounce. He's got the runner McCarg. He goes straight away, but didn't know it was hot there by Vioja Rainbow. Did really well to run him down, and the ball goes out of bounds right in front of the caravan here at Soldiers Reserve.
Not often you see Kwame McCarg run down from behind. I think that had more to do with the fact that he wasn't aware there was someone near him rather than not being fast enough, but still it's a rarity.
The throw in right in front of us. No, Ruck's got a hit out, bouncing ball. Ismail tries to belt it forward, then Greenhoff belts it further forward in the Aramentini's direction. Did really well, worked his player out of the contest. Galia ran onto it, got clicks forward, but the kick was smothered. Montanto's got it, handballs over the top to Pizzuto. Got the runner in Dundas running out wide on his left boot, squaring ball going for Caleb Sullivan. Too much on it, goes over to the top of his head. Coming back to pick it up there is Quick, but the ball rolls out of bounds and a throw in. About 40 round from the Tigers. Goal at the 16 3/4 minute mark of this third quarter.
It's had a pretty quiet day, Tim Quick.
Not much to do though.
A reflection of how things have gone for Deer Park, yeah.
So throw in. Sullivan got it down. A lot of plays around it. Pizzuto grabbed by one arm, managed to knock it forward. Still a hot ball. Handball back, ends up with Pizzuto, who hurries a kick inside 50. Can Rainbow get to it? Got to the contest. So it was Sullivan. Spoiled away from Quick, and the ball rolls out of bounds in front of Van Reep and Dundon, sorry. So another throw in. Pretty much same spot. 67 points the margin. That's what Deer Park lost to Altona by a similar margin a couple of weeks ago, so it's not unexpected that Deer Park can put in a performance like this. Normally they peak up around August, don't they, and really put sides away come finals time as we get another ball up. But back to the drawing board for the Tigers. So a bit to work on over the next, for the remainder of the regular season.
And they've lost twice this season, but they've only been very tight losses. This is a blowout, and they wouldn't have lost a game like this for quite a while against anyone, Werribee.
Probably last time was probably against Deer Park in the grand final, where they got belted by 100 plus points. Just the way the Lions play, and they end up with the ball out in centre wing as Bruin takes the mark. Plenty of space up forward in there for the Lions, but he goes short. It's a good kick. Galia's got it. Still inside the centre square at right half forward. Now goes a long ball in the red path and Stewart direction. But both players got their hands to it, couldn't bring it down. Now it's roved there by Smith. He got a handball to Pizzuto in the back pocket, and he gets the clearing kick right on the outer side.
Junk has gone back down into defence just to put an extra body down there for Werribee, but as a result they don't have much to kick to up forward.
So Pizzuto has the footy. He kicks a long ball down the wing. Sullivan leapt up. Well done by Kelm to get a fist in there. It spills to the foot of the pack, and it's gathered by Van Reet. Kicks a high ball to Stewart. Junker mistimed his leap, and Stewart got the footy.
This might be 50 here, it will be. That's just frustration. That was silly. I'm not sure. I think it might have been Shebeki flying the flag, but he came in and knocked over a Deer Park player right in front of the umpire. I don't know really what he was doing there. Letting emotion overall sense, and another soft goal for Deer Park. And Daniel Shebeki, you can't question his effort, but he has straight over the line a few times today, and he does look a pretty frustrated figure out there.
So Stewart kicks his third goal of the afternoon from point blank, and it's a 73-point margin. 19-5 to 7-4. It's been 4-1 since half-time. So a 53-point lead has grown by 20 points. Deer Park flexing their muscles as we near time on in this third quarter. It's been a very different result than what we expected, as North Melbourne as well, probably up and about given the news about Brad Scott overnight. They're getting close to a win over the Dogs. They're up by 27, and the Hawks are 29 points up on Port Adelaide down in Launceston.
Umpire throws it up. Clearance goes the way of Prismal. Gets a roller inside 50. Thar comes out, but he's stolen by Britton. Did really well there. Kicks in the McCark direction. He's in a one-on-one with Shebeki. Shebeki does the spoiling. Gains possession. Wheels back around onto his left boot. Now goes down the centre of Soldiers Reserve looking for Pizzuto, but too much on it. Almost landed in the lap of Britton, but he dropped the mark. He ends up laying a tackle there on Pizzuto. Dean gets it now over the Prismal. He looks for a couple of options and handballs over to Molovas, who's on his left foot, kicks the ball over the top. Lee runs onto it, gets around Bruin, gets around Van Reet. He's got some time, kicks it inside 50, overshot it a bit. Knight got a hand to it, and then comes out was Hamad, who got a handball, and then there's a quick handball, ends up in the arms of Prismal, who runs in from 35 and kicks the goal. The second of the quarter for the Tigers, cuts it back to 67 points. First goal of the game there to Reece Prismal. It's 19-5, 119. Deer Park, Werribee Districts 8-4, 52, 21 played.
That was a lovely goal, and it's probably even more frustrating for Werribee that at times they have played some very good football today, and they've kicked some lovely goals. There just haven't been enough of them, and there's been a deluge of Deer Park goals in between. And in particular, Cameron Lee, he looks so impressive when he gets the footy, and most of Werribee's good players involved him. There just hasn't been anywhere near enough of it.
So back in the middle, Sullivan and Calm, they each had a share of it. Sullivan got back onto it, didn't get a meaningful disposal. Barling barged through, got knocked over, got back up, got the footy again, kicks inside the 50. Galea has given away a free kick to Josh Mould, who, while Galea argues with the umpire, gets on with it and kicks down the wing. And it's a good kick and a great mark to Connor Thar on the outer side, right in front of his coach. He'll be pleased with that, but he's
hit the ground hard and he's hurt.
He's hit the deck pretty hard. He's up quickly.
Now, but he really was a good mark, but he really hit the ground hard. He had his hands around the ball and he wasn't really able to put his hands down to protect his fall. So he's going to take the kick, but that would have stung a bit. Actually, I don't think he is going to take the kick. He looks very groggy. Yeah, he's coming off, Thar.
He's not really sure where he is. I'm sure he'll be okay, but that was a very heavy landing after taking a very, very good mark. So the Tigers inside the 50. Oh, great fly from the back. Calm, terrific mark.
Speaking of good marks, he's been good today.
Quick around the grounds. West Footscray in front, 9-12-66 over North Footscray, 9-10-64. So good comeback there by West Footscray in this third quarter.
Old rivalry, that one.
See if they can hold on. Quick gets it from Van Reet.
Is that at Shorten or at Hanson Reserve?
At Hanson.
Quick from deep in defence for the Lions. Gets them out of defence. Flying from the back was Calm. Couldn't quite bring down the mark. It comes to Hamad, who on his left boot checks the kick. Bruin well placed. Clipped Seaweck around the ears. Getting onto it is Williams, the captain. Fed it off out the back to Van Reet. It ricochets out to Williams again. McCarg was pushed off it. It just spirals around on the ground and it's picked up by Perkins. Throws it onto the boot. Up to centre half forward. It's chopped off by Shebeki, who gets on his bike quickly. He wants to move it on. Kicks up towards half forward. Seaweck strong in the pack. Nice. Takes the mark. Molovas really short.
Again, Prismal.
In the end, he pokes it in short and finds Caleb Sullivan just into a bit of space, and he got away from Tim Quick and can have the set shot. Caleb Sullivan from about 45 out, 40-degree angle out to the left.
Well, they are having a dip here, Werribee. I was worried about them a little earlier in the quarter. I thought they were really going to drop away, but the last 5 or so minutes they have competed pretty hard, and they've kicked the last goal, and they could get another one here.
Just the one goal in his season, Caleb Sullivan, so far in 2019. And he made this one count for a bit of respectability on the scoreboard. The right foot drop punt, if it holds its line, it's good, and it does. Always drifting left to right, and he played for it nicely. So they string a couple together, the Tigers. Caleb Sullivan with his first of the afternoon and second for the season. 9-4-58 Werribee Districts, Deer Park 19-5-1-19. Close to the 25th minute of this last
It might be
third
because
quarter.
we got the goal-kicking expert Willow back in town, but gee, both teams have kicked very well on goal today. 9-4 to 19-5, so not many behinds. People often bemoan that goal-kicking hasn't improved with other aspects of the game. Well, it certainly hasn't been the case in this game.
Umpire throws it up. Sullivan wins it down, got it to Viojo Rainbow on his left side, kicks the high ball inside 50. Molvis got hands to it, couldn't take the mark. Wrapped up in the tackle there was Tester. We'll get a ball up, 45 out from the Tigers' goal. 25 and a half minutes about to tick over, third quarter. 61 points is the lead to the Lions. Up high, Kelm wins it down. Quick's wrapped up immediately. Do it again.
Important they finish this game off strongly, Werribee. As I said before, this will be a psychological blow. They've got to try and finish off well, even though they're going to lose.
From the restart, ends up with Dundon, who's outside 50, kicks inside 50, bouncing ball rolls out of bounds. We're going to throw in a couple of metres around from the left behind post. 26 minutes now, third quarter. Really the sting's gone out of it now, hasn't it? Big time.
Still got a quarter to go.
Still got a quarter to go, unfortunately. Kelm in front wins it down. Loose ball, a lot of plays around it. Quick got it to Kelm. He gets a clearing kick out in the McCarg direction. He's with Plumridge. Worked Plumridge under beautifully, did the champ. McCarg gets it, kicks it inside 50. He's got Perkins all on his own. He takes the mark and he'll kick from 40 out on a sort of tightish angle up against the left boundary line there. Front of the club rooms.
Yes, well, if the sting has gone out of the game, and it looks like it has, hopefully that will result in maybe more goals for either team, and maybe a bit of lax defending and a bit more of a shootout. Hopefully that's what occurs.
So Perkins kicks on its way. Goal umpire doesn't move. There's another one for the Lions, and Perkins has got 5 on the afternoon. 67 points the margin. 20 goals, 5, 125 over Werribee Districts, 9-4-58. 27 now played of this third quarter.
Well, that's 20 goals they've kicked, and we're not yet at three-quarter time, so they could rack up a really big score here, Deer Park, if they keep going. And as I said, with the sting going out of the game, maybe not as much tackling and pressure, and more goal-scoring opportunities for either team. I mean, Werribee have kicked 9, and they're being well beaten, so it's certainly been a high-scoring affair.
Back in the middle, Sullivan wins the tap. Coming off from half forward is Rainbow. Wins the football. Couldn't get a hand pass free. It falls in the lap of Calm, who spins his way through traffic. Kicks a high ball up towards half forward. Clicks, got it to Kalia. Running through to Burns. Takes a little step to the left and misses what he should have kicked.
Uncharacteristic mix there from Shannon Burns.
He's kicked 3 goals, 3 this afternoon.
He's been the exception to the goal-kicking excellence elsewhere.
And that's out to 68 points now, as they try to go inboard through Prismal, and now working it off half-back to Smith. Johnston, rather, and he kicks it out wide, searching for Rainbow. He's got Barling to beat. Barling trips over, and Rainbow obliges, runs into trouble. He's got Matty Dean for support, but the umpire has called for the footy just in the nick of time. It will be a ball up, so we get some very insightful comments from people on the boundary line. Apologies for the colourful language.
They're a knowledgeable crowd out here at Werribee.
From the restart, Sullivan wins it down. Cratharis tries to control it, ends up laying a tackle, and we'll get a throw-in centre wing out of side.
It'd be better if we got huge crowds and all of the all the words were blended into just a murmur rather than hearing actual conversations.
Our effects mic isn't near where the Sabertooth Club is either. I hate to think the sort of vocabulary we get over there at the moment.
Sullivan tried to be ruck and rover in the same contest, but he couldn't get the kick away. As a hurry kick from a Deer Park player that's been chopped off at half back, and the Tigers look to build through Shebeki. Kicks out to Dundon. Perkins mans the mark. Excuse you, Pepe. Low ball goes in the Molavest direction, did really well in front of Testa, works back onto his left boot, does Molavest. High floaty ball to half forward. Bouncy ball runs over the top of Lee Bruins there, but he's dispossessed by Seawack. Got a handball to Hamad, back to Seawack. Oh, he fumbled at Seawack though, and there's the siren for three-quarter time between Werribee Districts and Deer Park, and it is a 68-point lead to the Lions at three-quarter time. 20 goals, 6, 126 to Werribee Districts, 9-4, 58. Goal kickers for the Lions. We've got 5 to Jace Perkins, 3 to Shannon Bird, Spiro Aramantidis and Chris Stewart. You've got 2 to Scott Greenhoff, and singles to Shorab Ismail, Will Catharis, Tim Sullivan and Jack Redpath. As for the Werribee Districts, they're all singles. Pizzuto, Lee, Seawack, Prismal, Caleb Sullivan, Lockie Rainbow, Viojo Rainbow and Oscar Junker. So it's three-quarter time and a 68-point to the Deer Park Lions. We'll be back with the final quarter after this break.
In the third, as the siren sounds at Soldiers Reserve to get ourselves underway in the final term. Let's put the Tigers out of their misery, hopefully. At the bounce, Viojo Rainbow might get the clearance. It comes out, though, to Matty Dean. Kicks it up towards half forward. Molavas the target, and he leads up well in front of Knight and takes the mark. He's got a raking left boot. He decides to check it into the pocket. It's a beautiful-looking kick. And he spots up Caleb Sullivan leading out of the goal square in the left forward pocket. He can go back for the perfect start for Werribee Districts in the last quarter.
So this is just what Werribee would like to start this term. As I said before, they want to try and get some respectability out of this result and give them some positivity going into next week. And an early goal here will help.
So Caleb Sullivan, 1 for the afternoon, make it 2. And the Sabertooth Club get behind their team, even though the result is beyond doubt. Still trying to stay positive, as Sarah Ramantanis mentioned. You'd expect nothing less from Chris Gillam at the huddles. Pretty positive kind of guy. 10-4-64, the Tigers trailing the Lions 20 goals, 6, 126. A minute gone last quarter.
Yes, he is. He is pretty positive, Chris Gillam. He's not someone who gets out there and rants and raves. And, he knows that they've been beaten by a better side today. And next week's game is important, and it starts now. They've got to try and finish this game off well, and there's a good signs here early that they will do that.
Will Sullivan got the hit out, but it's McCarthy extracts it. Got a handball back to Trent Williams. Kicks it in front of Galea. Bounce. Got the poor one there. The Tigers are able to gain possession. It's Shebeki who's got it. He's on his left side. Goes looking for Molavas. But he put it wide.
Sort of sums up his day a bit, Shebeki. He's tried hard. He's had plenty of the football, but he's turned it over a bit and given away some free kicks too. He's probably had too many mistakes in his game today. Mind you, he's had plenty of mates who have done that too.
So free kick will go the way of Knight. He kicks it to half forward. Perkins does the spoiling and now he does the roving. He gets a kick around the body, bouncing ball inside 50 in the red path direction. Matty Dean comes out to try and help out his teammate there in Johnston. Still a lot of players around with the ball, but then Johnson comes away with it. Gets a mongrel kick outside defensive 50. Bruin went with a little soccer at the ground. Greenhoff and Van Riet looked at each other. Eventually Van Riet said, I'll go get it. And a little handball to Jones. Handball went to Britton, but it put him under a lot of pressure. Jones ends up soccering it forward to Greenhoff. Jones kept running, and then Jones went the banana. The Kevin Clicks banana, but like Kevin Clicks did before, got the fat bit, and it goes out of bounds on the full and a free kick.
Not quite sure what he was doing there. He certainly wasn't going for goal. He was about a kick and a half out.
So free kick ends up with Plumridge. Still Shannon Burns standing on the 50. Kick goes outside defensive 50. Coming up to meet it there was Jones. Got it to Van Riet, got it to Bruin, sweeps the handball inboard to Britton, has time to assess the situation, kicks inside 50. Redpath got his hands to it, couldn't take the mark. Galea there at his feet trying to crumb it. Prismal comes in and wraps him up in the tackle, and we get a ball up in between the 50 and the centre square, with the Lions kicking to the Duncan's Road end here in the final quarter. 3 played final quarter, 62 points the margin. In front, Greenhoff Gave Falcon there to Ismail, bounced off his head, and then the quick kick out of defence went by Mould, but straight back to Callum. He's been absolutely fantastic this afternoon. Kicks the ball inside 50, looking for Stewart. He got the paw bounce. Johnson did well, got away from Stewart, and kicks to Scudamore at right half back.
Scudamore's got Hamad on short if he wants to, but that option's shut down. He goes inboard instead to Will Sullivan, the ruckman. He's tried his heart out, but has had too many other ruckmen to beat. His kick up towards half forward missed the intended target in Caleb Sullivan, but Hamad was waiting next in the queue, and he takes the mark, who kicks up the line for Cameron Lee, who marks possibly within range, but he's got Greenhoff to kick over the top, and his man on the mark about 48 metres out, right in front of the Sabertooth Club at Soldiers Reserve. 10-4-64 Werribee Districts, Deer Park 26-126. Cameron Lee with 1 goal, 1 today. Not quite the impact he would have liked. It's been the same for his friends, as Cade mentioned earlier. He's on a 45-degree angle out to the right, usually a very good finisher. He'll have to get every piece of it. Lee from the paint at 50, works it back really nicely. And that's a good finish from Cameron Lee. His second. 2 goals, 1 this afternoon. And a couple to start the last quarter for the Tigers. 11-4-70, trailing Deer Park 20 goals, 6-1-26. 5 minutes gone in this final term.
Well, the goal-kicking exhibition from both teams continues. That was a lovely kick by Cameron Lee, who hasn't had a lot of the ball today, but when he has had it, he's looked very impressive. Just sadly for Werribee, he just hasn't got enough of it, but he certainly showed his class there. And 2 goals to start the last term. And you could hear the crowd there in the background, a bit of noise. Werribee just want to try and win this last term, at least go out with a bang here, and they've made a good start of it.
Back in the middle, Calm wins the tap, straight into the path of Ismail, who runs onto it, pokes a kick inside 50. A couple of bigs fly at it. It was knocked away there by Jacob Smith for the Tigers. But underneath in the pocket there is a couple of those mosquito fleet that Deer Park has. Galea and Amarantidis. They couldn't win the battle. The Tigers cleared it out, but only as far as Calm, who's been sublime. He works the 1-2 nicely there with Kritharis. Delivers inside the 50. Well done by Prismal. Got it to Smith, who just bangs it on the boot and gets it out of there. The bounce evades Van Reet, and then it evades Seawex. So not ideal for the Tigers either. It was picked up by Britton. Slips a little hand pass through. It ends up in the arms of McCarg. No one's catching him. He wants to work the 1-2 with Bruin. Instead, it goes further wide to Van Reet, who's tucked up under the old scoreboard. He kicks a high ball, not to the advantage of Amarantidis, and it's marked by Josh Mould at left half back.
Mould. He's got it. Short ball over the top. Works well. Shebeki's got it. Drives a long ball to half forward in the Caleb Sullivan direction, but it just goes too far and it rolls out of bounds with a throw-in. Under the light tower, which we probably need on almost. It's getting pretty dark out there.
I was about to say that. It's pretty dark. There's a car on the outer side with its lights on. I think a few other cars over there might want to do the same.
So toss in just next to the Deer Park interchange bench. Burns gets the clearance. It's a high ball back into the centre, coming back with a flight's Montelto. Just a mark on his chest. Or was it Mould? The quick kick goes on top to Dean. Quiet afternoon. Short ball for Prismal. Probably should have marked that. Perkins comes down from full forward and does the defensive work, and the link by hands ends up with Greenoff. Chips it over the top nicely there, and Galea's got it in front of the van. Still 2 kicks from goal. So Burns short, goes that direction. So Burns in front of the van, works on his left foot, goes in the Redpath direction. His work done. The Red Junker there was pushed out too. Coming across to help there was Smith. And there's a whistle and there's a free kick.
Redpath ragdolled a Werribee player over the boundary after the ball had gone. So a free kick there for Smith.
So Smith in the right back pocket for the Tigers. Side trailing by 56 points. Kicks it. And Callum, great mark in front. Sullivan and Greenoff were there as always, but Callum's probably been best on ground this afternoon. Took a ripping mark.
He'd have to be right up there.
So Callum kicks a high ball, looking for Redpath or Stewart. Doesn't matter if Redpath flew. Galea crumbs, tries to barge through a couple of tackles there. One's Dean, he don't get through his tackles. Loose ball. And now there's a bit of a DDT going on, WWE style there on McCarg with the tackle there on the man who had the free kick just before, and Jacob Smith. So a ball up right on the 50.
If you look at his influence over the whole day, he probably has been the best man on ground. A lot of their other players have been very good, but have played in patches. Stewart, McCarg, Barling, but Kelm's just been there all day.
Scudamore get a little clearance out wide. Coming out did well. There's Viojo Rainer. Shoved the tackle, but boundary line ended up winning out. We get a throw in about 50 round from the Tigers' goal. So the Lions' goal. Right half forward.
Shouldn't discount the influence of Deer Park having the week off last week too. They have looked a bit fresher and quicker over the ground today, which we didn't expect.
Josh Mould with the clearance, but it's been marked by Britton. It's inside the centre square. 9 minutes tick over now. 56 points the margin. 88.9 Win FM WRFL match of the day here. As the kick goes to half forward for the Lions. Good handball there by the Tigers defenders. Got it out to Pizzuto. His kick's going to come back though because it ends up with Trent Williams. Kicks a high ball. Stewart tries to get a hand up. Couldn't bring down the mark. Then the Werribee Districts player tries to barge through a couple of tacklers. And he's held up. And we'll get a ball up right half forward. And it's a quiet Soldiers reserve now. With this game put to bed as the lights have come on. Thank you to the Werribee Districts Football Club there for turning them on. A hurry kick from that stoppage ends up going out of bounds on the full. Free kick will go the way of the Tigers.
Must have our call on in the club rooms. Cheerio to you if you're over in the club rooms.
So kick goes long down the line. Viojo Rainbow does a couple little dance steps, so he's not wrapped up in a tackle. Got taken high. And the free kick against Williams. As the ball goes inboard to Shebeki. He has tried hard today, the captain. Goes out looking for Montalto, who marks with Jones on the mark. Pops one inside 50. It's a crowded 50. No player tries to take the mark. Kelm again. Defensively just belts it out. Shebeki probably should have taken the mark, but it spills through. Dean taps it on nicely to his teammate there in Plumridge, but the kick was smothered. Van Reed did really well. Now he receives the handball. He's got Redpath. Runs to 51. Kicks inside 50. Chris Stewart takes the mark. And we'll go back from 15 metres directly in front.
Well, it's he hasn't had the most consistent day, Chris Stewart, but gee, when he's injected himself into the game, he's had an influence. He's probably still pound for pound the best player in the league when he's up and going.
Stewart comes in and kicks the goal. 4 to Chris Stewart. 62 points to margin. 21-6-126. Sorry, 21-6-132. My apologies to Werribee Districts. 11-4-70. 11 and a quarter played final quarter.
Yeah, he has drifted out of it a bit in the second half, but again, when the game was really hot in that first half, he was the difference. Chris Stewart with some big marks up forward, particularly when Werribee looked as though they were threatening. And I suppose, like a few of the other big guns for Deer Park, he's been able to take the foot off the gas in the second half.
Kelm wins a tap down. Van Reek gets the clearance, but it's been chopped off by Shebeki. Wheels on his left boot. Kicks in the Molavest direction, bounces at his feet, goes through him and Tester, and eventually rolls out of bounds. And we'll get a throw in for about 65 metres round from the Tigers' goal. So we wait the throw in. So Kelm in the ruck with Sullivan. Sullivan got the hand to it that time, dropped it at his feet. We're going to get another stoppage.
From the throw-in, Lions get their hands on the footy up the wing, and then playing in front as he's been all day is Mark Alea. One of their best today. The Lions, it's been tough to pick their best, to be honest. He finds McCarg, who goes back to Galea. He's getting leather poisoning. Delivers it up the line for Shannon Burns. Kicks deep inside the 50. Perkins gets up, hangs in the air for a long time. Junker in defence, tries to extricate it. Got it over towards Smith. High ball out of defence for the Tigers. Kelm's well set back with the flight. He let it go though for McCarg, who flips it out to Kelm and then gets it to Tim Sullivan. Kelm's still waiting. In the end, McCarg gets it. Hand pass 4 to the play for Tester. And now Quick. Beautiful ball up in the Redpath direction. Just clears his fingertips and bounces out of play at right half forward. 21-6, 132 Deer Park. Werribee District's 11-4-70. It's a 52-point lead. 62-point lead, rather.
I think the sting's really gone out of it now. I'm not sure if we'll even see many more goals the way this is going.
Greenhoff from the throw-in. Tries to get a high ball. It's gathered by Shebeki close to the boundary line. Grubbers one towards Pizzuto, who couldn't control it. It ricochets out of play in a similar spot. Boundary throw-in again.
Don't think Deer Park are going to get to the 100-point margin I predicted. So that's one I've got wrong today, Pep.
Take the foot off the gas once the result was beyond doubt, I think. Just get to the final siren.
I thought Mark Bullen was revving them up at three-quarter time, saying he really wanted to go right to the finish. His players are not fulfilling his task, not doing what he said.
True. I think they'll be more than pleased to bank the 4 points in the manner they have. They've been entirely dominant. At the throw-in, Sullivan and Kelm. Kelm wins it down. Tim Sullivan for the Lions underneath. Flips the hand pass out, and there's a whistle on the play. It's going to be a Tigers ball. It's going to Reece Prismal against Knight. Prismal up towards left half forward. Molavas the target. Hamad's there as well, and then it was escorted over the boundary line by Tester.
Over in front of the Deer Park bench, where a few of their key players, but ageing players, are being put in cotton wool. Jackson Barling, I don't think, has been on this quarter. Rod Van Riet's currently having a rest. I think even Shannon Burns might be put on ice for the day too.
Free kick. It's going to go the way of the Tigers. Kelm reaching over the top at the throw-in. So Will Sullivan's got the free kick.
Actually, no, Shannon Burns is still out there. I stand corrected. But, yeah, they have put the cue in the rack a bit, Deer Park, which they've got the well and truly got the right to do.
Will Sullivan with a good centering ball finds Reece Prismal, who marks just on the 50, but directly in front. So he'll go back for a shot at goal to cut the margin back to 56 points. Prismal on the left boot, got good connection and good accuracy, and there's another goal there for the Tigers, the way of Reece Prismal, who gets his second of the afternoon. Margin 56 points. It is 12-4-76 Werribee Districts trailing Deer Park 21-6, 132. We'll play 16 minutes now, final quarter.
Well, what a display of goal kicking from both sides today, particularly Deer Park. They've kicked 21 of them, but Werribee have kicked 12 of their own and only 4 behinds. Deer Park only 6 behinds. So that's 33 goals and just 10 behinds. It's a pretty amazing scoreline when you think about it, especially given the windy conditions.
Another clearance comes the Tigers' way. Prismal got it to Pizzuto, who won it inside the 50, and then Molavas was tackled. It's picked up by Bruin, gets a clearing ball out of defence, searching for Kratharis. He was closely checked by Montalto, who escorts him out.
Shannon Burns coming off now, having a rest.
You wouldn't want the shootout, would you, like the second quarter where 14 goals are quick? They'd like to get this one over nice and quick. It's a real interesting throw in that one. Went about 20 metres the wrong way, so they're going to do it again.
Yeah, maybe that's part of their thinking, Willow. They kick too many goals, they like to stay
out there longer.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
and probably they can't stay out there too much longer because we have got the lights on, but you wouldn't be able to play under them. No, it's pretty dark out there.
It's pretty dark. Clearance goes the way of Tim Sullivan for the Lions, kicks it to half forward. Almost the mark there to the Tigers player there, but not paid. Mould wrapped up in a tackle, ball up.
Just as well we do have lights, because if they didn't have them, you do wonder if they'd be able to continue playing. It's really gotten gloomy.
Dark afternoon, tossed up right half forward. Kelm in front, wins it down, but it might come back the other way. No, it's going to go to Deer Park's way. No, Van Riet dropped it. Umpire said it was all good. Pizzuto came in with the body hard. Tim Sullivan wrapped him up immediately in a tackle. We'll get another ball up. Just forward to centre for the Lions, who lead by 56 points. 18 minutes about to tick over this final quarter. It's another statement win for this Lions. I don't know how many statement wins they can possibly have, because they just, when they need to beat teams, they do. But it's the Tigers that go forward. Pizzuto received the handball, kicks it to half forward, ends up in Kelm's hand. Tries to duck under a tackle, got a handball away over there to Tester, got Ismail by hand. Another one to Galea, but he put him under a lot of pressure. Hot footy at the moment. Tim Sullivan got it. And then there's a handball and a kick goes to half forward in the Redpath direction. Another little bit of push and shove going off behind the ball, and the ball eventually rolls out of bounds. And we get a ball up at right half forward for the Lions.
There's a Werribee player down there on his haunches on the boundary too. I think it might be Plumbridge, who's looks like he's just a bit winded.
Tossed in. Van Reet had to do the ruck against Sullivan, so Sullivan won it easily. Werribee get the clearance. Dundon pushed off it there by Knight, but Dundon went back in there and got it. And another tackle laid. Ball up centre wing on the edge of the centre square on the far side here of Soldiers Reserve. 21-6-132, Deer Park. Werribee Districts 12-4-76. Play gets back underway. Shebeki with a clearance in the Molivus direction. Couldn't bring it down with the one head. Seawack comes off from half forward. Tries to barge his way through. Couldn't. Lost possession. Ball's getting belted around a little bit. Ends up there with Hamad, who came across from Spotswood this year. He had a loopy handball. Jones sees it over the line. We're going to throw in front of the Lions interchange bench.
Done some nice things today, Hamad. Not his greatest day like many of his teammates, but there's been he's shown a bit of class at times.
He came back a couple of years ago. He had a pre-season with one of the VFL teams and really came back fit. It was a fantastic season with him when he was at Spotswood. Now made the move here to Werribee District. Sort of going to make a big impact here for the Tigers, but not this afternoon. It's been just a fantastic performance here by Deer Parks. So it's September performance by them. It's been brilliant. Let's let the rest of the league know. Might have a couple of blokes out, but we've still got a couple of blokes that can come back in. They're a very, very good football side, this Deer Park team. As we get another throw in next to the Lions interchange bench. 20 played, final quarter. Jace Perkins leads the way with 5 goals this afternoon. 4 to Chris Stewart, Spiro Amatidis, Shannon Burns with 3 apiece. Are the leading goal scorers on the ground. Greenoff with a double fister, belts it forward. Jones runs onto it. Handball's back inboard. No one there for his team. Ends up coming to the Lions. They kick the half forward, gathering on the bounce there. Scudamore wheels back onto his right boot. Now kicks a high ball in the Kelm direction. I reckon he'll mark it. We got hands to it, couldn't. Well done there by Josh Mould to make it contest. Van Reet's down there. Was he pushing the back umpire? Said no, play on. Still the ball inside Werribee District's 50. Prismal got a shock and bounce, but he's still trying to run on it, paddle it forward. Greenoff did well, picked it up, got it to Isma. Went the don't argue there, but Montalto won the day. Van Reet came and held him up, and Montalto laid the tackle of Van Reet. Ball up, centre half forward for the Tigers. 21 played now, final quarter.
He's been really good today, Van Reet. He's one of these seemingly ageless Deer Park players. He's been around for a long time. It's one of those guys you always think about might be retiring after they win their grand finals, but he returns the next season and continues playing well.
Matty Dean got the quick clearance from the stoppage. Kelm came out to meet it, paddled it for it. Now the ball's going to end with Dundon. No, he copped the shocking bounce. Seawick did really well. Got the handball on the left foot back to Dean. Goes with a short ball inside 50, looking for a mark in target, couldn't find one. Ball's loose. Jones is there standing on top of the pack. Ball spills out the back. Still in play. Umpire says play on. Good umpiring there, and there's a free kick for too high. And they'll go away with Viojo Rainbow. He'll have a shot from about 25 out on a 45-degree angle.
And this would ensure that Werribee will probably win the last quarter, which will give the home fans something to cheer about. They've certainly hung around in numbers. They haven't gone home early like you sometimes see in the AFL.
Probably an open bar in the Sabertooth Club, you think?
Sabertooth Club.
The Siren Cade.
Still chock-a-block in the Sabertooth Club, and they'll certainly be riding home this kick here from Viojo Rainbow, who's right in front of them.
So Viojo Rainbow, he's got 1 on the afternoon, played in the interleague side last week, left footer. So he's on the right side for that. 45-degree angle, 25 out. Kicks on its way and pushed it across the face. 1 behind, 55 points the margin.
You might have mozzed him, Willow.
Yeah.
So, but still, Werribee, they've finished off this last quarter, or most of this last quarter, pretty well. 3 goals to 1 so far.
So the kick in still to happen. Britain's got it, plays on. The new rule, kicks in, and a good mark. Redpath comes
4th in line there, Jack Redpath.
Good mark, 4th in line.
he's gotten better as the day's gone on, Redpath. He was a bit slow to start with, but he's been one of the more influential big men on the ground.
Yeah, went looking for Perkins, couldn't take the mark. Handball ends up there with Burns on his right foot, did really well, got it to Cratharis. There's Galea running past, goes in the Stewart direction. He's going to mark this, and he does. Stewart with the mark, 20 out, pretty much directly in front. He'll go back for goal number 5 to join Jace Perkins as the leading goal kicker on the ground.
How many times have we seen that today? Just a quick kick inside the 50 and Stewart one out.
Stewart just little poker, goal. 61 points to the margin. Stewart with 5, been fantastic. Just the forward line. What do you got? You got 10 between Stewart and Perkins. Redpath with only 1, so then you got Shannon Burns and Aramentidis cross half forward, getting 6 between them as well. So it's an absolutely potent forward line that they got this Deer Park side.
Yeah, and they've all sort of come in and out of the game. I mean, Stewart in particular, he hasn't played 4 quarters. Needed to, but when he's needed to, particularly early, he was just so influential, and even then he just bobs up, outmarks Oscar Junker, which is a pretty hard thing to do. He's a fantastic young player, but Stewart just with better positioning took the mark, kicked the goal.
Sullivan wins the hit out, but Burns gets the clearance, but a good defensive mark taken by Ali Johnson. He goes to switch, got it to Lee. He's got Hamad in space, ball goes over his head, which allows Tester to get kind of back into it, but a good fend off there by Hamad. Tester went arse over, and now Hamad goes down, kicking the half forward to Scudamore. Got a poor bounce, couldn't pick it up. Viojo Rainbow comes to try and help out with some pressure, but it's Trent Williams with the clearing kick. It's going to roll out of bounds, and we get a throw in centre wing out of side.
I think the umpires found a free kick, actually. It looked like he was signalling no. He had the hand outstretched as though he was signalling for a free kick, but he's not, so a boundary throw-in.
So throw-in, centre wing out of side. Greenhoff in front, wins it down. A lot of players around the ball. And the handball ends up with Van Reet, kicks a high ball. Redpath got hands to it, couldn't bring it down. Burns is there front and centre, like good Rovers should be, but they can't gain possession. Shebeki runs away with it, kicks a low ball to half forward, but chopped off by Britton at right half back, and he goes back to Kelm, and he goes back, sat it up a little bit, went for looking for quick. Viojo Rainbow was able to put some pressure on. The ball rolls out of bounds, and we had a throw in next to the Deer Park interchange area. 25 and a half played now, final quarter. 61 points is the lead. 12-5-77 Werribee Districts trailing Deer Park 22-6 130.
Throw in just forward of the wing. Massive lead for Deer Park. Massive win coming up. Srob Ismail off half-back, gives it off to Cratharis and out of Van Reet. It's quite dark out there. Those lights are definitely required, but I reckon Deer Park could do just fine in the dark. Coming off half-back is Smith. Works the hand pass through midfield for Matty Dean. Up the line now for Dundon, who takes the mark on the edge of the centre square. Broadcast wing at Soldiers Reserve. Floats a ball in the direction there of Scudamore, and it was wide of him all the way. It's going to be thrown in front of the Sabertooth Club. 22 goals 6 to 12 goals 5. Couldn't have predicted this one, and I'm being made to look very silly tipping the Tigers as Willow nods along. Throw in. 50 metres out. McCarg bounces off a couple of Tigers. He's just so good, this man. He works the 1-2. In fact, he doesn't. He tried to get it to Britton, whose kick was partially smothered. It lands in the lap of Seawack, who kicks a moon ball high up in the air. He should have scored a goal. Calm back with the flight, but instead it's a mark to Rainbow, who's been pretty good for the Tigers, it must be said. When he's had his opportunity, he's taken it. He's kicked 2 goals straight this afternoon, Lockie Rainbow. We back him in from here.
Him and Vojo Rainbow related in any way? Or they've just both got extravagant surnames?
Can't answer that one for you, Cade. Lockie Rainbow, 45-degree angle. We're right behind him. Angled out to the right. For his 3rd of the day, pops it through. 3 goals for Lockie Rainbow this afternoon. And the margin is 55 points. 22-6, 138 Deer Park. Werribee Districts 13-5, 83. And some Bronx cheers coming from the Sabertooth Club.
I think that might be from the Deer Park faithful, actually, rather than the Sabertooth Club. They're certainly very vocal, as I'm sure you can hear if you're listening in.
Having a good conversation to each other from across the ground.
It's all suitable for a family program like ours, though.
It's certainly not that intellectual. But we won't go into that.
Don't cast aspersions on Deer Park supporters, Pip.
I'm not. I'm casting aspersions on both supporters.
Oh, okay.
The banter is absolutely rubbish between both of them. They should know better.
Unlike the quality of the football, or the quality of the commentary, I might add. Yes, it's pretty late in the game here, guys. 28 and a half minutes gone in the last term.
I can't believe I work with you guys.
Might not get home safely.
I know. I'm leaving straight after the game. Tossed up, Callum wins it down. Paddling it nicely there was Matty Dean, did well. Finally got the kick away, got it to Dundon. Wheels a high left footer to half forward in the Seawick direction on a one-on-one with Britton. Britton did defensively. Callum fell over, coming out Scudamore, couldn't pick it up. Tim Sullivan's there. He's tackled there by Scudamore, but the Lions have come away with it through Bruin. Got it to Burns. Goes out wide. There's Galea with it. Galea goes short. Ismail's got it. 55 from goal.
He's been pretty lively today, Ismail. Kicked Deer Park's first, I think, or second goal.
And there's the siren, and he has a quick kick, but no score. And there it is, 55 points is the margin in favour of Deer Park. A statement win there by the Lions. They are 22 goals 6, 138 to Werribee District's 13-5, 83. 4 goals to 2 in the final quarter in favour of Werribee Districts, but the damage was certainly done in that opening half where the Lions kicked 15 goals to 6. Run through the goal kickers for Deer Park. 5 goals to Jace Perkins and Chris Stewart. 3 goals each to Spiro Aramentidis, Shannon Burns. 2 to Scott Greenhoff, and singles to Ismail, Quatharis, Sullivan and a Redpath. As for Werribee Districts, Lockie Rainbow kicked 3. 2 goals each to Caleb Sullivan, Reece Prismal, Cam Lee, along with singles to Mark Pizzuto, Bailey Seawick, Dylan Viojo, Rainbow and Oscar Junker. So it ends up being a massive win here and another statement win for the all-conquering Deer Park Lions. A 55-point win on our WRFL match of the day. We'll come back with the review, all the scores from around the league, best on ground today. So tune in. And we're back after this break.
You would